सागरे गपगरे गपधा पगरे ग सारे
at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. At the bottom of the ocean. Don't know if I'll make it back home.
The final day of UPL in the quarterfinals is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this best of three game. My name is Sticula, and I'm here alongside a special guest, Italiosis, who is joining us. Unfortunately, the usual Mr. Korback has had to take a sick day out. He is feeling very under the weather, but we're all about trying to get some new people involved here. Aliosis, tell everybody about yourself.
Well, as you said, Amelios or Alias, what people usually shorten it to. Um, Coincidentally, just as someone else is getting sick, I'm not sick anymore because I was sick all of last week. So the timing is unfortunate, but it still works out. I'll take it. I've done a little bit of casting for Genesis League as well as the Underground League, if anyone knows what those are, and I really enjoy it. And I'm so glad to be back doing it, especially with someone as good as Sticula. So I think it'll be a pretty good night. I've also heard that the teams are very evenly matched, which is what you want for a BO3. I'm hoping this goes all three maps. I want to cast them all, and I'm super looking forward to tonight.
All right, well, let's get familiar with the two teams that are playing. It's 2 Relax versus Phantom Gaming that will take the stage here in this quarterfinals game. See the rosters in front of you. These two teams coming as the second and third seeds, respectively, cross conferences. And 2 Relax, they've actually had a sort of late season force forward. They've seen a huge rise in their performance overall. They've had a lot of wins, and they've had some convincing results from behind them as well. And that's been lately to do with some monster performances out of Nyx. He's been hitting the server. He's been doing everything that you expect him to do. On the Phantom Gaming side of things, honestly, their roster is totally different from the regular season. I believe it's only Buzz and Giorno that are actually sticking around. They've gotten Trist, which is a player I'm entirely familiar with. Had a lot of fun casting Trist. However, I don't think I've ever casted Trist in a UPL season where he's made it into the semifinals. So that's a nice little storyline there to keep track of to see if he can make it into that next round here in the playoff.
Yeah, I don't know much about these two teams personally, as I've never casted them before, and I haven't been great about keeping up with T3, which I really should be. But I can kind of speak on the roster changes from the perspective of a comp player. When you change enough of a team, like there's a few enough pieces remaining that there's kind of like a new identity, and sometimes it can be really difficult to figure that out. The team I currently play for is currently going through that, and it is always a fun process.
Yeah, it's great to have like an actual player's opinion, right? Because we get Chief, he's done some coaching, and I get to kind of pick his brain from that element. But playing is far different from coaching, right? Being in the server and knowing what it's like to be pressured in playoff situation, that's important as well. I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities to talk about some of those important in-game decisions that get rendered here. Map bans, though, another topic we should talk about, as we've got a best of 3, and we've got an interesting setup, you could say. It's Oregon. Or actually, Clubhouse, excuse me, first. Oregon second with Villa Decider. 2 Relax, I honestly don't think their map pool is particularly crazy. Phantom Gaming are, from what I've been told, a pickup stack. They've got a player named Vinny, who I haven't ever casted before. It's actually rare for me to see somebody completely come out of the blue. Phantom Gaming have been around for a long time, and they're kind of just a group of friends that have been plugging it out in some leagues. So for them to ban Chalet and then just pick a very safe Oregon, that doesn't really strike me as off the counter too much, right? That seems kind of pretty standard, pretty much what you would get. And we have had, I think, kind of a standard map pool of that T3 special through all the quarterfinals games,
Yeah.
right? We haven't had kind of too much striation from the norm.
Absolutely. And I think the thing with like there are 3 maps that I call the home maps, which are Clubhouse, Oregon, and Villa, because every team knows them. If you build a new team, you're probably going to learn those one first. And so I'm not surprised to see 2 of them, especially with one of them just going to be a pick that might be in it more like that. Just it makes sense to me. Villa's kind of like your grandparents' home map, I guess, that you could say. Like it's familiar, but not as familiar. So just none of the maps surprise me really. I especially when I was in Genesis actively, I think every game, I think like 3 out of the last 5 games I casted were just Oregon. They were all Oregon.
Oh, I feel bad for you. we we have had some little bit of fun on Villa, and we've had some games this season that have kind of shocked me. But the game and the teams are ready, so we're going to be launching into that first map as we talked about there in the vetoes. And I'm really good to get into this one. I want to see what Phantom Gaming are like. From what I've been told, they just beat a stack of cheaters in rank 5-4 in overtime. So you've got that nice little ego boost behind you, knowing that even if your opponents are playing illegitimately, you can still take them out and getting that early elo here in the start of the season. New patch is actually just dropped. Do you have any thoughts on some of the changes, bulletproof camera, stuff like that?
I think it's very interesting. I think that I actually like the new HUD, which is kind of an unpopular opinion in some areas, but I still think it's good. I think it's very highly customizable, and I think that it takes a lot of what made the original HUD good and kind of improves on it. But the weirdest thing to me, and I can't get over it, is that like I'm the Jaeger player for my team, my job. It looks like the ADS with the pickup ADS icon looks like you're petting the ADS, um, which will always be strange to me. But that's besides the point. We're in the map ends now. We have Hibana. Hibana on, I believe this is Clubhouse. I'm not surprised, really. She's very versatile. She's very useful for every site, especially basement and CCTV. So seeing the defense ban her, not surprising at all. Thatcher banned as well. Again, not surprising. Very, very default ban for this map. Um, Especially just like he can discount a lot of utility. He can make things very, very difficult to defend. He can in a very widespread area as well, as long as it doesn't get ADS. But these guys know what they're doing.
One little note that I've actually seen recently, and this is something I'd like your opinion on as well, is I've had encounters where teams are starting to bring maybe just one, main primary gadget hard breacher, like maybe that would be a Maverick in a lot of these rounds, just given the bans, but then having somebody like a Buck or a Capital with the secondary breaching tool as well. Is that something you've seen?
I think it's very interesting. It's something my team does sometimes. I actually really like the hard breach gadget as it's opened up so much opportunity for versatile lineups. Whereas before, it's like you have to have a Thermite and Hibana or Hibana and Ace or whatever. Now sometimes you can just bring the Thermite and maybe you want your flank watch to double as a hard breach, so you bring a 0, or maybe you want your soft breach player to have just that little bit of extra utility. So if the hard breach goes down, he can still solve it. So you bring Buck and. It's very interesting. I really hope we get to see that actually because I really like that change and I think it's really, really cool.
All right, first round is here. We're gonna head up to Gym Bedroom. Nice little note in the rotation for Phantom Gaming, and the attackers will not indulge in any secondary breaching tools. They're just gonna stick with the Ace, the Maverick. Go with what you know. Don't try to, segue any weird operators in late into the season when you're in the quarterfinals. You just want to kind of go what you've been scrimming with. And 2Relax, from what I understand, have actually been a team that has been putting in a lot of the effort, right? We have a huge dichotomy. Teams in UPL, those that are pugging, that have just put out the call in the group chat and have said whoever is online, whoever's ready, get in the server because we've got a UPL match to play. Or those who are a little bit more prepared ahead of time, have had some time to get into the scrim lobbies and have been practicing. I know, funny concept to see inside T3, but 2Relax have been doing it, and I think it's shown in their consistency through the season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, not super familiar with them, as I didn't have much time to research this match, unfortunately. But just when you have a team that practices consistently, just whether it's scrimming or dry running or VOD reviewing, just when you practice with a purpose consistently, it adds like a whole new level of tactical awareness to your gameplay that you don't often see in a lot of T3 teams because they don't know how to practice. Looks like we've got Sledge over here going and solo entering strip side as they're preparing to attack Gym Bedroom. I apologize, slipping over my words a little bit, as I believe he's probably going to try and nade from below, maybe get a shield or two off, maybe try and harass whoever's in bathroom. As we well, it looks like they're trying to get the jacuzzi wall open, as that's, pretty standard for this map, and it doesn't look like there is any bandit or anything on the board. No, there is not, so they're not going to be able to trick it. They're going to be able to get past the mute chamber fairly easily, as it doesn't have the range that it used to. One drone down for 2Relax, as trying to get a beautiful nade from below, exactly what I had envisioned happening. Almost gets the bathroom player as well, so that's... So with the mute being off the board, that's a nitrous off the board, which is really kind of it's a solid first pick, especially given that no one had to die to do it. So that sets 2Relax up on a very, very good footing for this round.
Right, and especially I think given their positions as well, you've got the jacuzzi wall open, though you haven't. And that second nade from the Sledge below wasn't as successful in clearing out some of the utility off the wall. I think it was maybe just on the other side of the beam. Shrapnel mechanic is kind of inconsistent and random at sometimes, yada, 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 the drill. But you're still going to need to get rid of that eventually, because I think now this has caused a bit of a stall from 2 Relax. You can hear a Selma begin to detonate, and my mind would go to that bathroom wall, but also keep an eye on Trist's position as well, because I think that's going to tell you a lot about this hold. Mira appears above the construction hatch, but Kappa not punished for that move. Instead, we'll try to jump out, see if there's any pressure coming from the gym window, as Phantom Gaming have the trade back, but Nyx, still hiding below in stage, is going to put the man advantage in the attacker's favor with 40 seconds are about to go. Nyx looking to force this Wamai player. It's such a difficult spot to be in, right? You know freezing is on the rappel. You've got 150 bullets spraying over top of your head. There's nowhere the Wamai can realistically go. He probably would have died from either player if he had adjusted the position. But 30 seconds to relax 2 versus 4. They really have got to try and complete this with Trist down, Kappa on a sliver of HP. That Vector might shoot fast, but it's not going to gun down 4. And 2 Relax have the opening gym attack win on Clubhouse.
Very good round from them. Very, very well played. They were very on top of the trades there, and just that early pick from, quite sure how to pronounce his name, the Sledge, it made it so 2 Relax could play trades the entire round and win off of that because they had the early man advantage. As well as he might have been a very influential player for Phantom Gaming that just didn't get to play that round because he didn't get the gunfight. Additionally, that pinch on the main stairs between the Maverick and Sophia, I've been on the other side of that a couple times, and when you have that gun just rattling away, it is terrifying. It's kind of like you're trying to like exist inside Kevin McAllister's house. Like it's a bad idea. You're going to get shot with something. And we're gonna but with that out of the way, we're gonna move on to a CCTV defense from Phantom Gaming, which is typically the DI for this map, or sometimes you see basements as well. And nothing I'm seeing here really looks too out of the ordinary. Just a standard kind of, hold on this. Probably gonna have Wamai in rafters, maybe a sick smoke or something top right with a shield. Probably gonna have a Banshee on top of rafters as well as on top of red stairs. And just actually interestingly, holes in the Logi construction wall. Sometimes these teams just do nothing with that. Sometimes they either reinforce it. This is very interesting, as it'll make the attackers really uncomfortable to play inside of Logi. They'll be worried that if they step foot in there, they might get their toes shut off. They might get their heads taken off even from that. And it looks like we're gonna get a construction take here from the side of
Oof.
Well, that's fun.
That's not exactly how you'd like to start the second round. At least you still got the Maverick, but I think that kind of gives a shiver to your construction take, right? If you don't have 2 hard breachers, how are you going to make this a multifaceted push? In order to trick that wall, you really have to be conservative with the gas if you're expecting to open one of the walls in con as well. I think maybe that's a little unrealistic. Hughes has the trade. Kappa suddenly appears at top main, but he's going to dodge back, realizing that it's best to probably not get too greedy. You don't want to give 2 Relax the opportunity to trade it back, but he's not going to go for the full rotate. Still lurking around bot main, kind of wishing that 2 Relax would push for him, but knowing that just being present below, he's got a C4. That could be a possibility if the attackers are a little too immobile inside of the master bedroom. It's just a thought in the back of your head for 2 Relax. All right, we already have the man disadvantage, but there's also this unknown quantity that Kappa might just come up from the main stairs. Best way to solve that, you got 2 players who are dead. They can be on cams. Toss down a drone. You haven't had a single one get broken yet.
Absolutely. And the thing about him just staying there is, like you said, you can have this thought in the back of your mind, like he could be anywhere. Even if he doesn't try to peek them at all, if they just hear him on that flank drone, and they get callouts from the people holding the flank drones, that's gonna put this uneasy feeling in the back of your mind, like we could be flanked at literally any time, as you see next on the Sophia checking that staircase for that very reason, most likely. And a little bit of trouble happening with getting this wall open, which is the danger of Maverick tricking, is sometimes it just doesn't work, and you don't know why, and you have to try and fix it, whether it's, holes that could be used to shoot you in the feet. So this is gonna severely stall them for time, as they're struggling to get that open, as Nyx is trying to peek into cash and top red, and just see if you can get any pick going, see if you can get anything to leverage the site. We're going to get a nade out here from Sledge. He's going to try and nade Cashbox, it looks like. However, that's probably not going to do much as there's no one there playing there. Smoke canisters started to come out as Sledge is down by the unit on the top of red. And Mav's going to try and nade into something. Smoke almost picked out from the Zofia. She holds down left click, is the thing of all Zofia mains now. As Smoke's just going to continue smoking off this this wall here, this open wall, as he just wants to keep them out. We're going to have Freezing barge right in. He's going to try and take a gunfight, but he's ultimately going to miss. And then Kappa and a few others are going to clean up that round. And second round goes to Phantom Gaming in really, really good fashion.
That was a bit of a yikes. I feel like too relaxed. They lose that. The hard breacher, I think, set themselves up immediately right in the wrong direction. And then the car is sort of like spinning out along the road, right? You're not sure if it's going to crash just yet, but you're trying to just keep it there. And too relaxed were, I think, after the 3 versus 4 against them, too passive. It seemed like they really didn't know what they wanted to do. They didn't go for the res. You know, maybe, all right, the player is in kind of a weak spot. You've got that Smoke Reddit radio who could swing you, could toss a Toxic Babe. You just got to cover it and hope that you get the res off at that point, because what definitely won't work is running right into Cash. Like, what do you expect to do there? You're gonna pull a bolo and just mow them all down? I don't think so. And that's not a great recovery, honestly. Too relaxed really needed to think that through a bit more. But we'll let it slide. It's early game woes here on Clubhouse. Things will get settled in Too Relaxed. We'll think it over a little bit better next time.
Yeah, sometimes you're in a situation where you're just like, I don't know what's happening. Something needs to happen. I'm just going to throw my face at the side and hope it works. Sometimes it does. In that case, it doesn't, which is fine. You're going to have those times at some points. We're actually going to go to bottom floor this time. The church site is I'm going to have to take this round as well. Casting is so hard, man. So, yeah, I want to see, personally, from Too Relaxed, I want to see, one, not a TK at the beginning of the round. Does that kind of set them up to lose immediately in the start? But I also just want to see them make better use of their time. And if their Maverick tricking isn't going to work as well, potentially switch off to a Hibana, or maybe even a Zero, or a Buck, or something else with that hard breach charge. Is that they can provide a little bit of extra utility in other areas. We have Kappa at the top of main stairs trying to contest Jacuzzi Wall. Is that he's potentially forced off this really, really quickly, as it looks like they have a hunch that he's here, and they really don't want him to be there. It's just they want to either kill the roamers or force them downstairs, as that'll give them the breathing room that they need to work on the hatches and work on vert play, and really get the attack going. He's going to fall back, which is probably a really good idea, is he is going to want to not get picked off. He's going to want to keep alive as long as possible, especially since he has a C4, which is some of the most valuable utility defending this site, in my opinion.
I like the progress from Too Relaxed. I feel like they kind of have a solid grasp of what they want to do, right? It's not like one player's, trying to full clear, the other is rushing the site. It seems like they're all on the same page pretty much and have got a goal in mind that they're executing for. Phantom Gaming, roamers, didn't really get in many real engagements, right? You've got plenty of drones, which is a talking point of its own, right? To be at 4 drones with 1:30. However, you can kind of crutch off the fact that the Iana is there. Your drones, I think 4 is plenty for flank watch, but the replicator is only going to get you so far, and in this situation as well, Phantom Gaming haven't suffered any casualties off the room. You're probably going to have somebody there to shoot the replicator immediately, send it back onto the recharge. So I feel like Too Relaxed kind of have to maybe almost marshal their resources and kind of go for a one-sided take. Maybe you do church only, or if you have presence away from church, it's just to sort of monitor the situation, hold off the flank, see if maybe you can crush any Phantom Gaming members trying to get away from the site and retake against you. And for Too Relaxed to begin with, using the Selmas, opening up the church wall, and then getting open the kitchen hatch as well to make sure there's nobody rotating over to the back, kind of the ash wall. I think this pretty much signals the intentions here for Too Relaxed of what we're going to see in the next 30 seconds as the situation continues to develop. But Freezing has got eyes on a a grenade, wants to put it in the back of blue, and the nade sails forward as Vinny's now down. That means your blue player extinguished. 2Relax have sent somebody down into Oil Pit, but Buzz sings off a C4. Heading into 15 seconds, 2Relax have terrible field position here, and they need some utility. The Iata realizes, hey, time is running out. Buzz is running out of ammo, practically, but 2Relax might just still have a chance to rip this one back here. The plant is covered by Kappa, who might be able to come out on top of this, but no, it's a sudden appearance of Kua's inside Moto that'll do it in for the attackers' second round victory.
Beautiful take from them. A little bit hairy in the end. They kind of let the Mozzies slip through the cracks, but you know, overall, much better use of their time. I want to see more of that from them. Yeah, so we're gonna go to church again. Is they're gonna see something that they didn't like, something that they want to fix? Maybe stick another roamer upstairs, maybe stick a vigil upstairs instead, so it's harder to drone him out, or maybe they might even just six pick off the vigil and make Phantom Gaming or make Q-Relax, work on droning that out because they might be scared. Hey, there might be a vigil up here. We're gonna see Sad Viper's gonna six pick from the Ash to the Zofia. I think it's been running the entire game. We're also gonna get Mozzie to Mozzie, which
Classic.
beautiful six pick. 200 IQ. I personally am really interested to see what they're gonna do with this visual Mozzie combo, as in my opinion, it's one of the more powerful roaming combos that exists. Is you can place those Mozzie pests in really tricky spots, and then with the addition of the visual, it's really genuinely difficult to clear out that area and drone things out because you're not quite sure where the vigil is because you can't properly get drones around, and then he's just hard to drone as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. I'm also looking forward to seeing how 2Relax counters this, as last round their roam clear was very efficient, it was very fast, it was very clean. But with the additional barrier and droning, Stick, I'm really interested to see, what they're gonna do. But what do you think?
I think, honestly, Vigil is a great decision to put into this lineup because it felt like last time Phantom Gaming really felt the pressure from 2Relax and crumbled. Yeah, they had a player, kind of middle of the main stairs, but he was just there to shoot drones and fall back. I want to see Phantom Gaming actually, stick in their positions and try to waste more utility or even more time off the clock, ideally, from 2Relax. Because it felt like the attackers won that push without having to really, commit much to it. If you can clear out the roamers on Clubhouse, a minute and 45, I think, was probably about the time that they had realized that, the top floor is clear and you can move on to start getting the hard breaching underway. That is a huge amount of leverage to have. And even though, it was a little clumsy at the end, 2Relax used every possible second that they had, right? There was like 4 seconds, 3 even, left on the clock at the end of that round because they were just so thorough. As a defender, it's your job to not let the attackers have such a luxury.
Absolutely. And again, we already see a little bit more aggression here coming out from Buzz. He's just gonna peek the chain door and see if he can pick someone off. Is not even necessarily just to kill someone, just the fact that they know he's there and that they want to take gunfights. As an attacker, that's one of the scariest things. So Mozzie's already retreated down to first floor, which is about expected, as you want to keep him alive because of his nicer cell, but it looks like Vigil might stand a deeper roam over by the lounge side, which would be really good for him. It's actually a lot of them are roaming up that side, so it looks like they're going to try and retake the top couple floors and just kind of keep the attackers uncomfortable, make them really think about what their next move is and where they're going to go. Got dirt open already, which is a very good thing to have open at this point in time. Looks like they're going to really try and clear the smoke out with the frag grenade, as well as some more utility. The chill's going to go, but smoke is going to continue playing it, which is if this works out, is going to be a really good play for them. It's going to be very difficult to clear out that shotgun. I'm going to drone it out as well, just to see what's going on there. Because you want that guy gone, but you don't want to die to do it. Sledge looks like we have a first location of the round. Both parties take quite a bit of damage, and Sledge is actually down and killed by Giorno. So that puts QS off the board, which is really valuable utility to have off the board, as that's your Sledge. Kappa also upstairs, trying to get aggressive, and he gets Nyx, which is another really good pick. Viper refrags on Giorno, though, and he gets Vinny as well. And then looks like Kappa's able to kill a third one, and then Buzz kills Viper, which puts Nibs in a 1v3.
In a situation where Nibs really does not have much going for him, Phantom Gaming, 30 seconds, they know that Nibs is going to have to pick a route to come in and stick to it. And now they've isolated the fact that it's going to be that door. It's up to Nibs. Can he win the fights? He's got the tool to do it. AK-12 and almost a pre-fire deep into the back corner of Arsenal. Trist popping up from box one continues to hassle and hold back the ace. And Nibs' time continues to run out. He can try to bait for the frags, but he won't get even a single one out of the Phantom Gaming defense. They remain stalwart. They close out their advantages. A great success from that Mozzie, notably rotating, roaming, knowing when it was time to come back from that second floor, hassling all the players inside kitchen and proving that to relax. When they have a complication as serious as one or two roamers, things fall apart. It's evident there, and it was evident on the CC round as well.
Absolutely. There's one word that I forgot flank watch. It's words are hard. There's one word that I have for that round. That's flank watch. Who was watching Lounge? Like, no one. No one was watching Lounge. And that's what allowed them to do that. At one point, there were two coming up from Secret just to try and contest the top floor. And then Kappa on the Mozzie is able to get into Logi and then start contesting Kitchen, and he kills 3 people from that position. And just the fact that they let him out, the fact that they let him out of the site and up is what killed them that round, because they didn't have any information on Lounge at all. No one was watching it. And just that simple fact was what really allowed him to just run around and kill everyone. And then by that point, they have to go and kill him. And then he kills them when they try and do that. And then as they're distracted with him, Blood strikes as well. And it really doesn't set to relax up for success at all. It's kind of the opposite. But you know, new rounds. I really wanted more effort put on flank watch this round. Like that's the big thing for me. Just whether it's going to be bringing something like a Zero or Gridlock, or just taking someone and saying, you are the drone man, you watch all. They need to be better at just locking down the flanks and making sure that, you know, that doesn't happen again. Because if that happens again, that's really, you want to, like, they've technically won their quota of rounds for this half so far, but you want to win more than that. Like, if you can get 3 or 4 rounds in your attacking half going on to a map like Clubhouse, that's really, really good. Especially if you know how to defend Clubhouse. So I am hoping that they can, you know, kind of work that out a little bit, but time will tell.
Yeah, another point that I would have added as well there, to relax, being that this is their map pick, I expect the flank watch to be dialed in, right? You're in quarterfinals, you knew this game was coming, you knew that you made it into the postseason here, so you need to be ready. You need to be prepared for Phantom Gaming. It's easy to look at the roster and realize what this is. The team has completely changed. It means one thing. Bugstack, a team that's going to try to find the openings. You got players like Trist, who is not really the most developed support player. You know, he's not the one to wait on site, right? He's going to pick up that MP5, he's going to go on the Malusi, and he's going to find his entry point to try to rip things up. In Phantom Gaming, I honestly am surprised that they have only 2 rounds with, you know, the juxtaposition that you get there for 2 relaxed. They had a flank drone, I believe, on the top floor last round. It was like main stairs, though, which seems kind of far away, but also I don't necessarily hate it, right? Because if you can tell when the defender is walking down main or is inside logistics, that gives you the information to say, okay, kitchen player, react. You know that somebody's going to be opening up above you, so either stand and take the fight if you're confident that you're going to win it on the vertical, or give it up and don't even bother with it. I think To Relax did neither, and there may have even been, I would suspect, a communications breakdown, that they, you know, saw the cam and maybe somebody forgot to call it out, or they, you know, the cam got broken and they didn't know quite what that meant for their situation. To Relax, now we get to see their CC attack without a opening death via TK. And it seems as though there was a mute trick. I think the mute managed to get one down at radio after the first helmet had already detonated, which is definitely kind of awkward, but also at the same time, if, you know, Buzz could get some impacts over here, that would be some free hard breaching utility that he could remove and really put To Relax in a pickle.
Absolutely. Really nice vert play from Kappa, although that's going to be capitalized on immediately. As the execute from the site's going to go down, but it's not meant to be. Phantom Gaming takes the 3rd round for this half. Really, really well played from them. I really like that play from Kappa. That is It looks like that vert was potentially made during the prep phase. That is really, really good stuff to have open. Really smart.
And I wouldn't even necessarily expect such a thing from a pug team as well, right? That's what you get when you have a pug stack, but it's filled with players who are as experienced as these are. And being that they're represented by Phantom Gaming in this match, at least for the case of Buzz, Tristan, Giorno, they actually haven't gone anywhere from the roster that I knew them from first, which was, rolling back the clock, probably like 13 or 14 months ago at this point, playing in ESA, Phantom Gaming, then known as Phantom Legion. They have been in a lot of leagues, a lot of qualifiers. They've been in the scrims, they've been running it up, and they really know what they're doing, right? Trista's had some opportunities to look and try out for some higher level teams. He's played with other members who have gone on and done very good things success-wise. And to relax, I don't know if I can afford them that same level of credit freezing. Actually, funnily enough, was in that same ESA league with Phantom Gaming all that time ago. He played on NTNS, I want to believe, or perhaps he was in one of the other conferences that league ran. It's a little hazy being so long ago as it was. Nibs made a mid-season roster move coming from Coastal Gaming, who is actually another team in the playoff that were sadly eliminated just yesterday. But I haven't seen enough of Nibs to be fully confident. I think he's a player that I would keep my eye on, but not necessarily that I would say, okay, he has huge potential. Nyx highlighted him during the pregame. He can play well, but when the rest of his team is having a little bit more of a slumbering matchup, Nyx is not going to carry you over the finish line, especially against Phantom Gaming, who have players that will step up in the clutch and shut you down.
Absolutely. And I think one of the big things about a player like him is he can get kills, but if the rest of the team can't help, then those are just impactless kills. Like, you need a team that can clean up the rest of the kills or play the utility well enough that a player like him can just kind of get the frags that are needed and get out. And that's not really what's happening so far. He'll get a couple kills each round, but then if no one else can help pick up the slack, it is gonna have another. Although I really like the mute tricking, by the way. I haven't really seen a team try to do that, so it's very interesting to see. And they actually got the wall open really, really quickly this time, which I really, really like. I'm really much faster pace than before. They know this Jaeger's here, probably gonna get free. And yes, so the opening pick finally goes to Relax. However, that's almost traded back as Chris roaming around the bar area, but he's going to immediately go back up to the site. That's probably the best play, is you don't want to throw your life away. Are we going to see a repeat of round one, do you think, Stick?
I would say it's up to the Phantom Gaming positions. They have conceded the first floor, which can be a problem, especially as we've seen the sledge is effective on the grenades, right? But he's already used his, so Nyx is going to have to rotate as well at the same time. In fact, he will. He's looking to put a nade on that mirror at the red position. Nobody is sitting there, and the grenade, honestly, from my perspective, looked to not be fully cooked correctly. I don't know, Buzz will give us a nice glimpse to see if the mirror had in fact gotten broken, but Nyx will rotate off of the bar without using that second grenade, which in my opinion is kind of a missed opportunity, because look at the utility at Giorno, excuse me. I don't know how I could mispronounce his name after casting him for so long. But at the bathroom position, you have this ADS, you have this mute jammer. You really need somebody to get some other util, some other flashbangs. But look at 2 Relax's composition. They're not running any flashbangs. Sad Viper has got a single shot left in the lifeline, as QS is looking to perhaps try to test this top main stairs position. As Sad Viper could try to join up with that as well. Unfortunately, the sledge does not check for Giorno. Buzz gets one as well. Headshot onto QAS. Sad Viper did try to clutch up on that bottom floor attack round, but I'm not sure if I see it materializing in this one. Moves through the rotate and can't even best Buzz at gold, as Phantom Gaming will again outlast 2 Relax, who look like they just don't quite know what they're doing when they try to get to the execute.
Yeah, that's I think like you said, just flashbangs. Like, Clubhouse is a map where you need a good amount of burn. You need things that you can throw at shields and at my magnets to make them go away. And they didn't really have a whole lot of that, and so they're really relying on those grenades from below, and it worked the first round, but it didn't work any round after that, and so that strategy just ended up failing. Because they just, like you said, there's no burn, no way to get rid of the ADSs, and just it really really kind of came and bit them in behind. We're going to go to CCTV cashier for the first round for two relaxes defensive half, as they actually bring castle this time, which is not something you see every day, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they use it. I knew someone who I teamed with a while ago named Mystery, who used to do like this kind of like below hold with castle, which was really weird and kind of never worked. See something like that. There's a drone on site right now, and it doesn't look like anyone sees it. It's underneath the cash table there. Or is it on site? Am I just seeing that wrong? That could be.
Looks like it's through the floor in stock, like maybe on a shelf or something.
Okay, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, okay, it is. So that's one of the default flank cams for that. It's good to watch the stock run on, as well as a little bit of lounge. That's one I use personally. What I really want to see here from To Relax is just more, like, an even kill distribution, which it looks like they're kind of starting to get, but like at the same time, Nyx is doing most of the heavy lifting. And it's not really working because again, you can't just have one person getting all the kills. So I want to see how they do this. Stick, I'm sure you do as well. What are your thoughts so far?
I like the note you make about the castle, having a former teammate who you know. He tried to set up, maybe it didn't always work. We love teams that try. We love teams that actually make strats. And I have seen Challenger League rosters attempt to do this below hold. So I believe it's Parabellum who, would you say, pioneered it with an alibi, playing behind a shield in kind of the swamp area. Freezing is in a tough spot, right? He does not have any reinforcements to help him between that sort of lounge wall, which could cause some problems, and Kappa is going to look to put an asphyxiation bolt right on Freezing's position. However, in that it forces him out of that corner, Phantom Gaming cannot collect upon the opportunity. The player over by the main door was a little bit too slow in the reaction. Probably could have done better off if he had pre-fired there, but now we get a little bit more context about this hold below. Two Relax are running it too strong. They have the Jaeger kind of lurking around the bar area, and that's going to be hugely helpful to Freezing. Because as Trist moves in, he can't be fully confident that the angle won't be there from stage, and Nyx now will actually start to step forward in enforcing that crossfire with assistance from Freezing as well. They need to put the pressure on from Blue, right? This is wasting so much time, and again, sort of poor timing moment there from Trist as he had the flashbang out, but on the second attempt, he makes it better. He lands the headshot, and Nyx tries to pop up, hits an instant reaction onto Trist to level us back at 4 versus 4.
Just to say that QS is taken out by Giorno, so that's looked like he potentially was going down red stairs to try and help Nyx. However, he's killed by this beautiful cutoff angle from the Maverick, which beautiful teamwork there. They're going to try and dislodge this Lamai. However, his utility is catching quite a bit, and he's going to down Kappa, or kill Kappa rather, and down the diffuser as well. Before potentially getting killed by the strike grenade, he only gets down, which is, his kills being collected, so scratch that. The XQ is going to come out here in a sec, I would imagine, given that there's 30 seconds left with a pretty good man advantage. Man, it's been a really, really good clear, I'd say, from Venom, with some hiccups, but those happen. Let's see how they stick it out. I hand it back to my lovely co-caster.
Seems like Vinny wants to plant, right? But you've got Nibs with that C4 quantity. Could try to put it over the top. Has the kill against Giorno as well. That's the pressure, and Nyx as he tries to move forward. He gets eliminated, and Nib steps up huge in the clutch to outlast there. Way to go for Two Relaxed. They do it in the 2 versus 3, and Phantom Gaming, now the tables have turned. They're the team that can't get it done in the execute.
Really, really well played from Nibs, and I don't recall who else. I want to say it was Viper. That was just the positioning of top red from Nibs was perfect. He managed to, obviously, part of that was the fact that he just managed to smoke someone at the top of red stairs. But just the fact that he was able to stay there and use his nitro cell, and then just hold a really close angle with a shotgun that the last Phantom Gaming wasn't player. And, that, I really liked that play from them. That was really, really good. Nibs especially, as we were highlighting him a lot in the pre-round talk. He lives up to that. Now we're going to go to Gym Bedroom, which is normally the third site in the rotation, but these teams both seem to like it quite a bit. So, it's a stick. What are your thoughts?
I agree with your point there on the front of Nibs. Good to see him prove himself right after having a very... It was not a great first half for Nibs. He was like 1-4, I think, after the events of the first 6 rounds. But when 2Relax have to count on him, he steps up. He delivers in the clutch. He gets the C4 on target as well, which is huge. Kind of an old football reference that I would make sometimes is he was able to complete the pass in the face of a rush, right? The defenders, in this case attackers, were not able to shock him with that CC platform pressure. He got the C4 out. He got it on target as well, which is the most important factor in all of that kind of chaos from the situation. And Phantom Gaming could not, A, complete the plant, or B, complete the round. Because you knew that Nibs was there. He was feeling himself. He was confident. He was able to carry it out. On this round in particular, I think it's most of the same points that we talked about during the first half when 2Relax were trying to clear below, right? You need good effects from your utility. You need to be able to put that grenade. Maybe it doesn't have to come from below, though. I don't think that's, completely required, right? And if you look at the floor below that as well, the way that the defender and the way that you have this mirror set up is actually something that will clue you into the way that the map is structured. Because below that wall, it's not a soft floor, at least on the, would it be north section of the bathroom? It's completely solid. And Nibs, wait for him to turn around this game as he gets super aggressive. I would not have expected that either, but also for Giorno's sake, yeah, you're not expecting a mute to run out the breach. But you also can't be off in La La Land. You need to get your gun up.
Absolutely. The thing about really aggressive plays like that, you don't expect it, especially not from the support player, because that's kind of what Nibs has been doing. Almost another pick there with C4, actually. But then Refrag comes out from Kappa as he uses the LMG to go burn, take freezing. He's been having an excruciatingly rough game. Yeah, so it's going to be a cash side take here with some light pressure downstairs, most probably just to keep some nitro cells from being used, and to get that pick onto Nyx, which is a huge pick, as he's been one of the primary fraggers for 2Relax, and that also gives them the man advantage in the 4v3 with a minute left, which is a pretty good amount of time to work with.
One point that I would draw here as well is, yeah, 2Relax, we talked about them earning their quota on the first half. But Phantom Gaming are turning on the afterburners as they get on the offense. Nibs aggressive at Jacuzzi for a second time. He looks for the kill against the Capital, but can't muster it as Kappa steps up and Buzz completes it as well. The final 2 kills out of LMGs to put it in the bucket for Phantom Gaming. They've got the gym attack locked in.
Some players, they get one taps. These guys get Gatling gun taps. Which is what we're going to call them when this rhythm now with LMGs. I really like Kappa goes below, and he gets the refrag, and then the other pick on the roamer, which kind of messes with a lot of what 2Relax wanted to do. Is not early, but it gives a good man advantage, as well as taking out Nyx, who's been statistically at least the best player before 2Relax, is a huge automatically. Although Nibs really knew when to get aggressive there, which is really, really nice. Some people struggle with extremes, either too aggressive or not aggressive enough, but Nibs has been like right in the middle. He's been really, really perfect, and really, I just want to see what Stick has to say about this second gym defense we're seeing.
What I will say is 2Relax need to not do the same thing they did last round. They need to try to figure out a way around it. I was going to say that it's hard to hold off that Jacuzzi wall with the Cade ban, but to be quite honest, I think you have to be used to the Cade ban, being that this is your map pick. That seems pretty simple. Phantom Gaming, they weren't going to come into this and ban, like, Lion Caviera. The Cade is almost always banned on Clubhouse, and I would imagine 2Relax have probably had a number of scrims as well where they played with the Cade not being involved, so that point is pretty much mute. I think there has been a bit of a mismatch here in terms of, you look on Phantom Gaming, Kappa is having a monster game, Buzz is doing well for himself as well, and you said a kill distribution, 2Relax, kind of start off at the top with Nyx and Nibs and Sad Viper, and then it sort of falls off the cliff when you get down to Cubas and Freezing. 2Relax need to be able to hold their own. Just given the way that they're playing this defense, they're trying to be very skirmishy, I think. And that last round, I don't think it was necessarily a bad call for Nyx to go below to try to end that pressure, because it's making your site defenders, your anchors, feel very uncomfortable. And as an entry, as a space maker, it's your job to try to get something done on that front. It was just unfortunate, and I think partially maybe you could put some blame on Nyx there for not having, you know, his rifle up as he came through the billiard store. You need to be aware that Phantom Gaming have somebody down there, and maybe you could almost think about having the Jaeger, instead of bringing barbed wire, perhaps get a bulletproof cam. Have some intel below there as well. That way you know, okay, if this gets destroyed, we need to be worried that Phantom Gaming perhaps have got some players in this bar area.
Absolutely. And the bulletproof gadget is even better now, and I think it's an underappreciated piece of utility that more people should make use of. But we're not going to see it here is, you know, barbed wire and Jaeger is the standard. But actually, now that I look at it, Nyx actually has barbed wire in his pocket for some reason. Is one of the mirror windows gets popped. I believe that is the one on bathroom, maybe? My stream was lagging when that happened, so I'm not quite sure. Looks like a pretty standard, like, cash highway balcony side execute, as, maybe with the jacuzzi wall open, although some teams opt to skip that. And look at this, something that was not done by 2Relax, is a flying drone in lounge, which is very valuable, as, yes, they do have someone on flat, or they did at least for a while, but you still want to know what's going on in that area. You want to know what's happening, and really good pick from Giorno onto QS. That's going to take out the Wamai, who had an indeterminate amount of utility left in his pocket, because I'm not quite sure how much was there. We're just gonna see how it goes during these last 40 seconds of the round. So, we'll see if they can stick it out.
I feel like that was maybe a little too aggressive from QS. I get that he's trying to stop that pressure up on the hatch. You could have a situation maybe where your catcher utility is spread too thin, and so in that thought, maybe he's worried about a grenade being put on his position, freezing with the monster around, but it might not matter as he gets cut down, and Phantom Gaming have full control of the site and attempted to plant. Kappa quickly thinks otherwise as Nips tries to move through the rotate. He's cut down. Suddenly, Nyx at main stairs, but Triss does not secure the trade in time. Realizing the time is too low, will try to stick for the plant, but it does not happen. And that round ultimately comes down to, I think, Freezing being able to stop the rush, deaden its tracks. Without that happening, in my opinion, Phantom Gaming overwhelm the side and win the defense.
I agree with that. And I think that one of the problems I'm kind of noticing from some other players in 2Relax about this entire thing is that they really like to peek, which is cool, because sometimes you have people that can just win those fights. That's not what's happening here. And so instead of getting really aggressive in times when it makes sense and getting picks when the attackers don't expect you to get picks, you're just throwing your life away to a dude that's peeking Logi Hatch. And even though he's almost dead, which was a lot of what allowed him to be killed later on in the round, you still don't want to be losing players like that under really any circumstances. But we're going to see Church Arsenal for the first time in this half, which I really am looking forward to seeing how they play it. It doesn't look like there's a ton of roaming utility on the board right now, so they might be going for more of a turtle hold, which I've seen quite a few teams do with varying levels of success. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what's going to be going on here. Now it's going to go. We've talked about it a couple times. QS and Freezing pulled his weight last round, but I really want to see him and QS picking up a little bit more, just to kind of give his team that extra like little bit of firepower they very obviously need to make this defense work. Because if not, there are plenty of players on Phantom Gaming who are ready to take them down.
A notion I mentioned at the first round of the game is this idea of teams bringing a single hard breacher and then having somebody use the secondary breaching tool. We'll see that in this round as Kappa has the secondary breaching can opener, what Chief calls it. He's got that in his kit. He can be able to safely open 2 hatches as long as there's no trouble being made by some impacts. Perhaps that would be out of Sad Viper. He had him in the last round. I'm not sure if it'll be the case in this. In fact, it's not, because he's got the procs. Trish opens up the vertical, showcasing a nice angle deep into the middle of Church, seeing if perhaps there's anybody tugging on the bomb chassis, kind of a common area to see defenders at. Nyx is testing the coverage on the blue stairs, which I think will be an important story thread to keep track of, as he could potentially work a flank in the very same vein that we had earlier in this match from Kappa when he was on the Mozzie for their basement defense. The breach into dirt, I think it's been open from the side, and they're going to get ready for the util burn. We saw last time this dirt situation erupted on our screen. It went quite poorly for the attack as they got kind of handed. Fat L because of the shotgun, and it's here again in this round. Nibs has the M590, but it's important that you get the trade. That didn't happen in the last round. They tried to push him solo. Giorno's ready for it. The shotgun gets the first shell off, but not the second. Buzz is quick to trade it out, and oh, he goes fishing and grabs one. A snag at a sad Viper. 2Relax have to be worried now. Phantom Gaming have a huge pressure vector coming in from that north side. The dirt door, the C4 up. Unfortunately, it's off mark, and QAS will now try to test Vinny's reaction time by peeking the church wall, making a rotation over towards Moto. That might be the right call here, but now that you got smoke in the sight, you got Buzz. Fraction of HP, flashbang going off overhead. That's going to cause audio issues as Kappa, he's getting the plant down, but somehow 2Relax are still pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. The plant is stopped. Kappa doesn't commit to it, sacrificing all the Phantom Gaming's members for that loss, and now Trist has intel on a player at top main, but he has a heavy task handed to him.
Yeah, clutching this 1v3 is going to be a very difficult task. With the amount of time he has left, he can do it, but again, just a good team is going to hold a crossfire. They're not going to let you have just a 1v1, and there you go. He's going to get killed from some punch holes by the Echo, and somehow both well played and poorly played from the side of Phantom Gaming, which is not something you can say every day. But really good round from them overall, from both teams actually, in different aspects. We're going to go back to CCTV, which is, again, kind of like the default site for this map. It's the one everyone knows. They're not going to bring the castle this time, at least it doesn't look like it. They might six-pick onto it, though, however. Oh, no, I'm just blind. Just blind. Ignore me. They get a six-pick off of the Mira and onto something else that is yet to be revealed. The attack has been sticking with pretty much the same lineup this entire time. Which, you know, a lot of teams do. We're going to get a Malusi, Chimera from QAS, as that's going to provide some very valuable utility to alert the defenders of when the attackers are potentially trying to go up staircases, or maybe onto the site, or maybe onto a different plant spot. Who knows? Some teams use them for just C4 notifiers. Just, you know, this goes off at first C4 here, man goes dead, right? And they might use that. They might use it like that. They might not. Who knows? I see how they use it personally. And you know, Stick, what are you thinking? What are you looking forward to this round? What are you looking out for?
Well, I actually have something from the last round. If Kappa can't trust his teammates and get the plant down, he should be the one with the diffuser. Like, that was kind of troll, to be honest. You know that your attackers, it's a huge gamble to try to go for a plant, and to be honest, I don't think Phantom Gaming had the hugest mandate to go for a plant given the circumstances as well. It was sort of like a let's try it. You know, we won the control fight for dirt, and we got a huge pickup as well. That was just because Buzz was on a heater. He came through the dirt tunnel, got the trade onto the smoke, and he got another one in the middle of the back of Arsenal. But Kappa, if he just stuck the plant, that gives over the advantage to Trist, who is kind of, then he's the one who sets the tempo, right? Because he's upstairs. He has the vertical. If the plant is down, I think that round maybe goes a little differently. But even despite that, 2Relax, we're able to come through on the clutch. And yes, you can say Phantom Gaming kind of maybe didn't give us the best look of an ending there. 2Relax have to, you know, play against the team that's in front of them. And that's the matter of fact. 2Relax had contributions as well to note there. QAS and Freezing are starting to see a little bit of a climb.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that I kind of wanted a little bit earlier in the match, was just for them to not even necessarily pop off, but just play their positions well and really deflect the attackers, which they've really started to do, even though they've only picked up a few kills in this attacking half. I think they both quadrupled their scores from the attacking half, which is pretty good. But just those kills have been impact frags for the most part. Especially that 2K that Frazen got on Gym Bedroom that really allowed his team to have the space that they needed to clutch that round. And as I talk about space, there hasn't been a whole lot of it created by Phantom Gaming yet. At least none of the spots that they want. Freezing is still just chilling in lounge. Still just kind of vibing there, as they want to push him out, but they're not really sure if they can yet. And Why is, again, just sitting there trying to waste time, trying to waste utility, as Nyx gets a pick, which is immediately refragged by Trist. And then and then Freezing is also taken down by Buzz, which is going to be really, really good pick for Phantom Gaming. So it's going to give them the man advantage again until Buzz is taken down, and then finished off with an impact before being immediately refragged by Kappa, which again, man advantage over to Phantom Gaming, as Nyx has to hurry and get back to the site as quickly as he can in order to help Nyx or Nibs, so Nibs isn't completely overwhelmed.
But you'll remember, we were in the same situation last time. It was 2 versus 3, advantage for Phantom Gaming. Though they couldn't close it out the first time around, Phantom Gaming, they've learned that lesson. They've crossed that bridge, and they will step to match point as the 3 versus 2 is closed out without really much of a peep from the 2 Relaxed defense, who I have to kind of judge their rotations there. The Jaeger, it took him so long. He had to go all the way from bar up to the main stairs, through Master, rip down the castle barricade, through construction, through into cash. And that took him so long. And all the while, you had the player in, Oil Pit who was, solo, got his frag, but it was traded, impactless. It didn't stop Phantom Gaming from executing. And if maybe he was there a little earlier, if the Jaeger had thought it more wise, maybe to go through lounge and come up red, I don't know, it's a bit risky to do that, or fall off earlier, right? It's just sort of a timing thing there. And to Relax, they need to play together. I'm such a basic Siege concept, right? It feels like, that's a cop-out thing to say almost, but I will clarify. I will give the bigger, more contextual answer. To Relax win the rounds where everybody plays their role and does their part. When QAS and Freezing haven't got an opening pick, shot in a corner, died doing something stupid, To Relax have had some great successes because it allows the team to function. It allows Nyx to get up to double digits, or it allows Nibs to be in a comfortable enough situation, maybe with more time burned down, where he can thrive, he can set something up, some kind of play to work out in the clutch. That last round, it just seemed like kind of a series of errors, kind of dominoes that fell, and Phantom Gaming realized that 3 versus 2, we're just going to go hit the site. We're going to win our gunfights, and that's the risk that you run by not playing together.
Absolutely. And I think a big thing there is that last time for that attack on the CC, they kind of gave Nibs like his own space that he was able to work in, but this time they didn't do that. And like you said, when Nibs needs a little bit of setup time and a little bit of like space to do what he does. When he has that, he's really scary, but they haven't really been giving that to him these past 2 rounds. Like, they've been making him really uncomfortable with where he's playing. I think it's really showing with how he's been playing. He hasn't been able to do the things he's wanted to do these past couple rounds. And that's just, it's really, really, really punishing To Relax. And whether or not he's going to be able to, whether that's going to happen again is yet to be seen, but, again, just give him space. And just, I think everyone on the side of To Relax really needs to pick it up a step, because like, they have 2 people in double digits on the side of Phantom, and 1 person on To Relax, and most of those people on To Relax don't really have many notable frags to speak of, which is not the situation you want to be in here. Is the other team is the opposite, and it looks like they're trying to really make the other team uncomfortable, which kind of seems like it's working, but again, yet to be seen. Oh, Kappa gets the pick on to Nyx. That's good. Nyx, or Stick, what do you think about this?
I think that opening could probably seal the game if To Relax are feeling the pressure here, if they don't stand tall. Phantom Gaming have given them something that they gave in the last round as well, which is a lot of space and a lot of time. They've been far too slow, in my opinion, for a normal circumstance, right? But I think they are confident in their guns and their ability to execute. QAS is full stunned. He's trapped in this back corner. However, Phantom Gaming aren't able to execute and take out Bluamite, so he'll be able to respond. But unfortunately, the question of him getting impact is one that goes without much of his own personality. Freezing steps out into Con, guns down too, Giorno down as well. Freezing having an absolutely star-studded round as Nibs guns down Buzz as well. Phantom Gaming just gave away a 5 versus 2, and that means that this game is headed to overtime.
Very interesting. Apparently the key to get Freezing to pop off is just put him on gym bedroom, which has seemed to work so far, but even though that was a nice rounds, Freezing popped off, you can't win rounds based off of one person popping off. Because it was like a 2v5 there until he just killed everyone, and that's not sustainable. It is replicatable, but not enough to the point where you consider winning entire games off of that. And that's something that really is going to have to be remedied by 2Relax if they want a chance of winning this map. Which, for their sake, hopefully that changes. Hopefully they're able to get more consistent picks, but so far they haven't really suggested that it's going to happen. But who knows? I could be wrong, but we're going to get into overtime now, Stick, and let's get to it.
All right, let's see if 2Relax can finally dig themselves out of this hole that they've sort of been dwelling in. Freezing might end this game positive, which, I don't know. If you had asked me that during the earlier portions of this match, I might have said, no way, Jose. But he has had some huge impact moments, and though at the start of the game, Nyx had a lot of kills, there were some times where he was just shooting people and then he would die, and then the rest of his team would do nothing. It feels like 2Relax are a bit more cohesive, and I'm glad that they win that round because it illustrates a point that I wanted to talk about, that I did mention, is Phantom Gaming are pretty slow on their attacks. They aren't the fastest team because they're trying to be very thorough with what they're doing, and 2Relax should exploit that more. And they should set themselves up in a position where Phantom Gaming have 30 seconds, 20 seconds left when they try to execute. You want to be prepared to pounce and to, almost kind of launch an attack, because Phantom Gaming, I don't know what it is that is causing them to go so slowly. Against, rank stars, I would say going slow is the way that you want to do it. You want to make sure you draw on all the rat corners, and that's where some of the slowness comes to, but also just making sure that you're taking things at a smooth pace and you're communicating with your teammates so you can get trades and this and that. But 2Relax haven't had any, to be honest, substantial performances on any kind of like an early game roam or an early game pressure against Phantom. Oftentimes they will completely concede map control and just let Phantom Gaming have it. And so PG, what they need to do is they need to have cutoff drones, and they need to not be so slow, right? They need to get the wall open right now into cash, because it's a little pointless that they be just sitting inside CCTV. You want to be as further forward as you can so that 2Relax, start to get a little claustrophobic. And maybe as a result of that, get too aggressive, try to make a play, and you can cut them down for it.
Absolutely. And was that the cash table or the green box?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a nice angle that I'm definitely going to see in ranked later. Really good opening pick from them, especially since it was Freezing, who's been the gym bedroom demon so far. So that sets them off on the right foot. Not a whole valuable utility, but the player himself has been very impactful on this specific site. So we'll have to see how much that nets them. As we're going into the last minute of the round here, and this is crunch time. This is when the explosion onto the site is going to be set up or happen potentially. As the attack is really trying to take the control that they want and need, as Nips gets a good pick on the Buzz, which is a huge pick for 2Relax, as he's been a standout performer basically this entire game for the side of Phantom Gaming. And that's exactly the kind of pick you want, although Triss is going to fall into a frost mat. And it doesn't look like he's going to be picked off yet. No one's going to punish that. Kappa's actually going to get QAs, which is going to give a little bit of a late advantage to Phantom Gaming. But, they've had that quite a bit. Sometimes they've lost it, so we're going to have to see how they play it this time. As we're getting into the final 10 seconds, Side Viper gets Vinny, Jorno's downs. Triss gets Nyx, though, which puts a spooky 2 for Nibs and Side Viper. Viper taken out, though, and then Nibs has to get the clutch. Can he get the plant? If he can kill the planter, he wins this. And he does. Beautiful clutch from Nibs. really, I think that's the closest we've seen one of these sites go.
Especially for Jim as well. It had been a little close back and forth, and another big round, huge from Nibs, that actually puts him into double digits, I think on 13 kills now, possibly even approaching 14 to relax. They might come back and win this game. I thought towards kind of the mid phase, maybe round 10, that was, Phantom Gaming sure that we're going to close it out. But they have made quite a number of mistakes, and they have notably allowed to relax to step up in the pocket and really excel and do their best. I want to see the scoreboard actually to see whether or not Nyx is still at 12 kills, because I think he is, maybe 12 or 13. He has had a very kind of quiet, he's sort of fallen off. He's just been sort of sitting at the same position, but that is not true for Nibs, who was rocketed up after winning that initial clutch and just being consistent, playing like he needs to. I have a lot of faith in the 2 Relax side, and they might just come back to sort of trump Phantom Gaming here and take their own map pick, which would be exactly what you want. You want to win your own map pick in a best of 3, and then, maybe you just sort of tough it out on their pick and then win on the decider. That's a big element of a lot of teams in the way that you play this. Hope that your team had good sensibilities in the map veto. Really kind of an epic story for 2 Relax in this match.
Absolutely. And if they can make this comeback, that would be a really good personal story for them. Especially with Freezing and Nibs and QS to a lesser extent kind of coming out of the woodworks and really participating in, the impact kills. Because even though Freezing is going negative right now, a lot of those kills are kills that won them rounds, which is super valuable. And the kind of kill you want your player to be getting, especially given that he's on a more supportive role. It's kind of his job. We're gonna have C2 Relax attacking Jim Bedroom again, which seems to be the favored side of this matchup, which isn't usually what you see, because a lot of teams will prefer CC or Church Arsenal, but to each their own. Is they're gonna see if they can work some magic here and just close this game out right here and now, as that would give them the advantage in the BO3, as well as it would give them their map pick, which is really the one you want to win, as you expect to win that one and expect to lose your opponent's map pick. But again, sometimes it doesn't always go that way, and Phantom Gaming are going to be fighting extra hard to give themselves that chance to win the next 2 rounds and take this map, as that would give them a huge advantage, as that would give them their opponent's map pick as their first victory in this series. We're going to have Trist getting a pick onto QS, which is going to be immediately refragged by Sad Viper onto Trist himself. There's going to be a Sledge for a Frost, which is a very beneficial trade for the defenders, is Sledge has a lot of valuable utility that they're going to want, and they were relying really heavily on grenades from below, which means Sad Viper is the only one with grenades left. Actually, scratch that. Freezing has some as well, but he's on the other side of the map right now, so it's mainly going to be Sad Viper trying to get grenades from below and do the nade work that 2 Relax want. But again, will this happen or will it not? Stick, take it away. What do you think?
I don't know. It's going to be tough to see. I don't think we've had a lot of time to talk about 2 Relax and their ability to come back after being a man down. But if you do remember kind of the first few rounds of this game, 2 Relax, if they suffered any kind of an obstacle on their offense, it was really ugly to watch. They had some serious trouble. But I'm hoping that through, the defense half, maybe there was some improvement in the chemistry there. Maybe they're starting to coordinate a little better. The comms have gotten clearer. Everybody knows what they're trying to do. And Buzz actually just spots the edge of a player below, but backing into the showers area, wants to avoid that grenade as it comes up through the floor. It's actually caught by the ADS. Here's the Jaeger at main stairs. It's traded out by Sad Viper, but all of a sudden, Kappa, I believe dropping through the construction hatch, will appear against Sad Viper to step the advantage up 3 versus 2. Phantom Gaming have a great shot to close this one out and put us into the 15th round of overtime, as Nibs again is presented with the clutch situation. Downs the first, however, cannot confirm that kill. He's going to look for it, but as he steps forward, he didn't realize that Buzz, and I didn't even catch this either, had stepped all the way to the jacuzzi wall to make sure that round isn't going anywhere.
Really good movement from Buzz. Really good position. Himself in the perfect spots to not get spotted, whilst also killing all of his opponents because they didn't really know where he was. However, now, 2 Relax need to get one more chance at defending, which has been historically the favored side for them, but by the skin of their teeth most rounds. So, Whether or not they win this is yet to be seen, but this is probably the best chance that they have. Now, which means they might go for some sort of really aggressive kind of third floor roam. But they didn't do that the first time, so it's entirely possible that they don't, and they're actually going to six-spec off of the Mozzie and onto a mute, so they're probably going to go with more of a turtle strategy again. However, I really want to see them contest the third floor more, because they're just... Phantom Gaming has been very methodical. They've been very slow. They've really liked to take their time with clearing the map, which is fine, but you can really punish teams like that by trying to throw a wrench into things. And you can try and force them to play really, really fast and aggressively. You can really throw multiple wrenches into things even. You can really make them uncomfortable and force them to play in a way that's not advantageous to them and their style. And there hasn't really been a whole lot of that from the side of Too Relax yet. And, you know, this is crunch time. Like, this is when you really want to pull out all of the stops and pull out what you want in, because even though you're not facing elimination with this map, you are facing potentially losing your own map pick, which is, as we said before, really not good and not something that they want to suffer through. So this is, for both teams, this is like the most important round of the game, like, obviously. And we're just gonna have to see how they do and see what happens. Well, let's stick it again for the next portion of this round.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment there as well, as far as on the Too Relax front. Why not give Phantom Gaming a threat to deal with in the roam? They haven't even tried it yet. They just haven't attempted it. I don't know, maybe they've had like some troubles in scrims where the roam just never works for them, and so that kind of leads them into a position where they always try the turtle. But Phantom Gaming are terribly slow sometimes with their map. However, I'll say I think their troubles have been more so in horizontal play than it has in getting the vertical control. And, you know, on this side in particular, we saw last time they did reach the objective eventually, but Phantom Gaming, they had the moment where Kappa, you know, he didn't stick the plant, he didn't commit to it, and they didn't trust his teammates, most importantly. And that just led to such a dire spot for Phantom. They didn't have their plants, or everybody died, and it was just like a round that was for naught. Watch out for dirt as well here. If Phantom Gaming do attempt that, it could give you kind of two pictures. One, if they attempt it, we might see the same attack plan. But honestly, from their positions at current, I think Phantom Gaming are going to try a different execute for this finishing round. So here goes Nyx, trying to creep against the Buck. Still waiting inside blue. They have a Z-ping. But Nyx has got the drop on him. Spots the gun barrel. Has the first kill. Nyx looks to step up. There's one coming through from the lounge side. Giorno trying to step in. I think they might be able to lock this defender out of the rotation. Nyx doesn't have many options here, but he's forcing Giorno to play this particularly passively. As he starts to step forward, he catches the Jaeger in the drop to neutralize the advantage. But Phantom Gaming have 45 seconds to go, and they have a real job and a real opportunity to prove themselves. If they can upset this, would be dramatic. But they haven't cleared out dirt. They haven't dealt with this. Phantom Gaming, I don't know if you're going to clear that dirt player with the amount of time that's left. This could get ugly. They're going to step forward. Oh no, Triss doesn't spot him. Nibs is cut down in the response from Buzz with a monster pickup, but Freezing is still alive and in the fight. Kappa trying to take it, but the Echo, the pipe is in the way. Too Relax have an opportunity. Here is Buzz, all familiar. 17 kills he might be at, but Phantom Gaming don't have anything going for them, and Too Relax with the monster comeback. Have the first map after an intense 8-7. What a way to start off the quarterfinals.
Absolutely, and really, really good comeback from Too Relax. They kind of struggled in the early parts of the ground, and on a lot of their defensive rounds, I was honestly pretty convinced that they were going to like lose it at like the 6-3 or 7-3 or something, but they actually pulled it back really, really well, and they gave us a really good performance that I don't think a lot of us were expecting near the end.
No, that was honestly kind of a shocking game to see go down to overtime, but hey, I gotta toot my own horn. I didn't predict this one was going to be close, but I don't know quite which team I would predict will move forward. We have that question, the answer to it, and more on the next map of Oregon. Before we get to that, however, a short break. We'll be right back.
सागरे गपगरे गपधा पगरे गा सारे
at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. At the bottom of the ocean. Don't know if I'll make it back home.
Unified Premier League, it's the quarterfinals, and it's map number 2. We're on to Oregon to relax. Had a real squeaker on their own selection. It was Clubhouse 8-7, and a huge element of that map came down to a late comeback from notably Nibs and QS. There was also some impact from Freezing as well. He was a real beast every time he got on that Frost, most specifically on Gym Bedroom. My name is Sticula. I'm here alongside our special guest tonight, Aliosis. What are your thoughts jumping into the second map?
I mean, I think my biggest thoughts are just, I want QS, Freezing, and Nibs to be performing from the get-go. I think that's the biggest thing for me for 2 Relax, is just if those 3 can perform well from round 1, they're going to do exponentially better this map than they did in the last one. And for Phantom, I think, really, sometimes there were some rounds they just couldn't close out. Like, there'd be some crack in the defense that would let Freezing or Nibs slip through and get a 3K and destroy the 5v3 that they had. So I really want to see them getting better at using the man advantage that they have, especially when it starts to get really, really big, to just cause chaos and really control what the other team is doing and just kind of choke them out in the late round.
Well, we'll get a good opportunity to dive into that first and foremost, of course, because Phantom Gaming are on the attack. It's their pick, and if you're in the map ban and you see that your opponent picks Oregon and you choose to attack first, like, no, you don't do that. You don't ever do that. You always pick defense because Oregon defense is just easy peasy. And another note as well that we'll have, because of the side selection, 2 Relax had attack first, and I don't think it was great for them. It's been a long time since have had a game on like your Oregon or your Clubhouse where a team just does bad because they begin on the attack. And I think that was kind of the situation that we had there on the previous map. Looking into this one as well, Phantom Gaming have an opportunity to get that same form that they were just on for Oregon, or excuse me, for Clubhouse, but they can't let it slip. Don't let 2 Relax creep back into this game.
Absolutely, and I think they have a lot of potential to after the last round, because if Nibs, Freezing, and QAS are warmed up now, they're going to be scary. Like, having a team where 4 or 5 players are all able to frag out and get impact kills is really legitimately hard to deal with. And if that's the case, then if Phantom Gaming a run for their money. And actually, one immediate difference that I'm seeing here is that there's a lot more presence on the top floor, just from like a couple Castle arcades I'm seeing, than there was on Clubhouse. It's really, really gonna make it, if they play it right, it's really gonna make it difficult for Phantom Gaming to get in the building and get in as fast as they might like to.
Gotta be real mindful of the pace on Oregon. We already talked about it. Phantom Gaming were kind of slow, and having a 2 Relax who are now up in your face are playing a roam strategy, Vigil, Mute, and Castle included, could maybe slow them down even furthermore. I think Phantom Gaming are going to have a real reality check through this first round, and it's going to be a moment where they'll need to prove themselves. Immediately discovering one of the castle barricades here on the bottom right double doorway. They'll get rid of it with the Gon 6 and discover a little procs on the other side, but 2 Relax already have identified the situation here. It's a horizontal clear, at least for this kitchen area, with a little bit of Phantom Gaming attack pressure coming in on that second floor as well. Freezing starts to step closer to the top of these freezer stairs. Funny how that works out. I imagine we'll be talking about that a lot. And hoping that he can establish a bit of a crossfire. If Phantom Gaming are too worried about this issue inside security, they might forget to check for the castle.
Absolutely. And I really like this pressure. They're not, 2 Relax isn't peeking anything. They're just sitting there in spots. Gaming knows they have to contest them to get control, but they're not giving them the opportunity to get free picks. They're saying, hey, you want this map control, you have to come for me. And that's really, really going to benefit them in the long run if they can keep this up, is things are just now getting opened up a minute and a half into the round, and QAS is gone from kitchen. He was in kitchen for the longest time, but he's gone now, and it doesn't look like they really know he's there. And even though Freezing hadn't fired a shot until now, him just being there made Vinny so uncomfortable that he's only just moving up to the freezer just now with a minute and 20 seconds left. And QAS is going to get the opening pick onto Capis, which is going to be a really, really good pick as he's the primary hard breach.
That could swing things in a monstrous direction here. as the Vigil is still kind of something you have to worry about. And I think this is giving Phantom Gaming, a situation they haven't been in before, where they have a 2 Relax who are poking and prodding at multiple different positions. Nyx with a headshot, quick connect against Vinny, and Buzz is downed. Triss is looking to make the pressure effort from bottom main, but he doesn't have a lot going. However, as I say that, 2 Relax have finally lost someone, suffering the casualty of Nibs, who is a noted clutch performer. Buzz on less than optimal HP, but he's got that LMG. He could pre-fire, he could work something here. It's all about Phantom and them needing to work together as Freezing collects. Nyx with the headshot, it's only Giorno left. Pops, the only player for Phantom Gaming to get any kills in this round, but he'll need to make it an ace, and I think that's a little unbelievable. Looking to put a grenade, and this one might be good. The Vigil starts to step back in anticipation and survives the fragmentation from that. 10 seconds to make it through from Freezer. Giorno has the gun sight on his position and cannot win any of the fights. 2 Relax. This is the way that we must see them perform on Oregon.
Absolutely. And it was a really, really nice defense from them. Again, just the fact they are continuously poking and prodding made it really hard for Phantom to get the map control that they wanted, and it was really evident when it came down to the final seconds of the round, and they didn't have anything to work and execute off of. They didn't have any time or any map control, and it made them really, really uncomfortable with everything that they were doing. And just, I really want to see more of that, although it looks like we're having one player having a little bit of trouble loading into the lobby. It looks like his game might have crashed, which happens sometimes, but it's whatever. Just, again, Stick, just that fact that they're poking and prodding so continuously, it's something we never saw in Clubhouse that would have really benefited them. In that round was played so well from them. It really, I think, is such a huge part of the reason that round went so convincingly in their way. Just, if you don't have map control on that site, it's so hard to get anything going, especially because there isn't a lot of vertical play to speak of, so they can't rely on a sledge or a buck to just open things up and make it comfortable.
Yeah, another point there as well that we saw, and I think this is going to be very, very helpful for 2 Relax. They've already got a great start. They got the first round on Oregon, but they also have in their back pocket as well the fact that they clutched up on Clubhouse, and I think that's going to really help to kind of ease the mental. If you were to come into this, if you had, lost, if you couldn't complete the comeback on the first map, there might be, comms could be a little dreary. It could be kind of frustrating to be in. At this point, 2 Relax have forgotten pretty much about the first map. They are completely zoned in and are focused on winning this game and playing the best Siege that they possibly can. And I think that is the best atmosphere for 2 Relax to thrive in.
Absolutely. One might say they took the time to relax. But on the other side of the coin, Phantoms can be a little bit frustrated because they had a pretty good lead going at one point, and they were winning rounds really convincingly, but then they just couldn't close it out. And that's one of the most frustrating feelings, is knowing that victory was within your hands and couldn't get it done. Like, it's really genuine how they play here. And so they're going to have to find some way to shake that off and just play and just have a good time in order to make this comeback happen.
On the top floor, Phantom Gaming expressing interest in a split take, as it seems like so far. They do have, looks like, the Bandit over by the games wall. His utility will likely have been already placed, or maybe even its freezing strap. I'm not quite sure what the Cade Claw will be used for in this context. It's kind of quiet round. Phantom Gaming haven't really had a lot going so far. It looks like they're trying to put some pressure on the mid floor, where, again, 2 Relax have expressed an interest to try to accomplish a realm. Nyx taking a few bullets, but sending even more damage out in response against Buzz, who had suddenly created that vertical threat pressure that he needed to worry about. Phantom Gaming going for some of the hard breaching efforts, but 2 Relax still finding just a relative sense of eludement coming from their realm. They haven't had many confrontations of any substance so far, barring that earlier damage, and Nibs will start this round off in a great fashion as he gets a C4, and he's got the shotgun as well. Can't tell you how I missed that. The fact that he's equipped this one. The M870, I have seen this strategy before, in fact, and it was 2 Relax as well that deployed this, playing super aggressive with that shotgun close at the main breach.
Absolutely, and just this position, which a lot of people call Bolo, that he's in, is so perfect because you can get a pick on the breach and then just rotate off. And it really allows some flexibility where he can sit and play with that shotgun. As another Relax Buzz in a 1v5 that he doesn't win because it's C4 from freezing, giving him, I believe, a 3k on the round. You don't always see a Roman Kaid, but sometimes it works out, and this is one of those cases.
Relax have an impressive bit of momentum. It's a completely changed storyline here on Oregon, and I would imagine that could also perhaps be due to the fact that maybe post map 1, during that 5 or 6 minute break that we had, that Two Relax have sat down and they've kind of gone over the successes, the hardships that were on the first map, and they've reviewed some of what went well, some of the efforts from the clutch, but also the fact that their teammates really have to be able to step up, work together, and that's where you're going to find success on Oregon. For Two Relax, they just need to get that mindset on track, and they have. 2 up so far. Phantom Gaming haven't had much of a peep, to their credit. I mean, the first round, they tried for so long to get control of kitchen and security. The second round, it seemed like the first floor and the basement were, again, areas of trouble. And Phantom, I think that's going to be a large-scale issue. When you're a puck stack, you don't have as much coordination as you'd like.
Absolutely. And one thing that I ran a team for about 9 months that had a lot of trouble with teams that are playing like Two Relax is playing right now, because when you're constantly poking and prodding but not giving picks away, it's so hard to get that coordination going when someone just throws a wrench into it. Even if they don't actually kill anyone, just constantly peeking or hiding in weird spots or playing around utilities instead of for your roam can really mess up the way that the attack is playing, especially when you're a team that likes to take it really slowly, like Phantom Gaming has proved to be.
Again, Two Relax setting up. They've got a bit of a roam down in the basement. The Melusi just hiding out. Nibs is biding his time. He wants to perhaps come later, see if maybe he can attack. It's always interesting. Interesting, I don't know, maybe not the best word to describe it, but it's curious how flanking up the rear stage stairs affects the attack on this site. Because, right, Phantom Gaming need to lock it down. We haven't seen many crazy flank watch moments from them. And just the same as how Clubhouse, I don't think really has much room for operators like Nomad and Gridlock. While Oregon is a bit more lenient, I still think you do have, the need to bring a lot of utility in the form of frag grenades, which are always a valued commodity. And in this case, it's Trist who came over to the Ying to try and have those explosives to his aid.
Absolutely. And I just kind of touching on flank watch a bit more because that's the role I play right now. Nomad is probably, in my opinion, the best flank watch for this map, just because of the way that her utility works and the fact that there's so many hallways with corners in them, and just you can use Nomad to lock down an entire area of the map. Like, my team really likes to lock down the kind of main classroom area using Nomad, so we don't get C4 or anything when we go for the plant. And I haven't really seen anything like that from Phantom Gaming so far, as I don't even actually really think they're getting a whole lot of the map control that they really want, because there's just been so much congestion from Two Relax.
Yeah, it feels like there hasn't been many conscious efforts, and the problem here is going to be, what substantial pressure do you have on the players in Attic other than, top of the stairs? Two Relax have a sudden appearance. They get away with 2 kills. I suppose you could count it 3, but Nibs TK's Q as Giorno strikes back to earn a trade. A play could have been a little maybe better done there, and this could open the window for a possible execute into the site. What's more important, however, is the fact that Two Relax, I think, have somebody up inside Attic. Never mind that, it's actually a Phantom Gaming member, Trist, eliminating Nyx in that area. 38 seconds to go. Giorno, a crucial fight that he wins on the step in across the green hall threshold as Trist is checking for vertical pressure up above. The plant should be almost a sure thing, but Freezing has the Alda, and we've all seen it happen before, so don't count him out before it's said and done. Starts to step forward. The plant is completed, and he absolutely ices Giorno. Freezing doesn't have much going for him, and Buzz will put him out of his misery. Phantom Gaming have their first round win on Oregon. It's a success on the tertiary objective.
So that's typically the site that you expect to lose for a lot of teams, which, it's typically how tertiary bomb sites go, but even still, work out, there was still an attempt to get really aggressive by abusing the flank watch that Phantom really didn't have. like if that TK hadn't happened, it's entirely possible that this round would have played out completely differently.
Yeah, I think that could have been. The TK. You got 3 players coming up the stairs. It gets a little, there's some traffic there, and that's just the cost of such a play. You want to get as many people up those stairs as possible because you want the highest likelihood of winning all your fights. And Phantom Gaming have not shown me the best attack on Oregon so far this game. I get the fact you haven't scrimmed or really practiced, and there's maybe a lot more calling of audibles than really anything solidly written down. But that round had pretty much none of the fundamentals that we count on for that attack from the start. They're lucky the TK happened because that kind of saved their shit from sinking.
Absolutely. And I one point out is that Clubhouse was not picked by 2Relax, but they didn't look like they knew what they were doing all of the time, whereas Oregon looks much more practiced from them. Like, you can really, really tell these defenses are well thought out and well practiced from them, and they really, really know what they're doing and what they want to hold and how they want to hold it. And that's something that I really want to see if it translates over to their attack or even continues on the defense now that Phantom Gaming is going to be attacking sites that they've already attacked.
It's hard to judge that from just the sample that we have so far. What I would say for Phantom Gaming is take it very simple. Don't make things super complicated. And maybe the reason why they were so slow on Clubhouse is because they were uncomfortable. And perhaps it was a situation where 2Relax were kind of being their own worst enemy, right? They were losing to themselves on map number 1, and they almost did lose to themselves because Phantom Gaming were on match point at a point during that game and got to it in overtime as well when they tied the score 7-7, but could not complete on either opportunity. Phantom Gaming, they win that round, which is great. That's a nice little pat in the back. You were able to complete the comeback to win the tertiary objective, which is, somewhat of a given, but 2Relax gave him a tough go of it. Looking into this round, more traditional site, Phantom Gaming did this last time. They went for horizontal. They tried to clear out 2Relax, but they were too passive, which is not something I think I would have ever said about Buzz and Trist with Kappa as well. I mean, Kappa's an incredibly aggressive player. He had a lot of kills on the first map, but Phantom Gaming really need to try to fight 2Relax here. They cannot continue to play passive, and honestly, they need to lose some structure. I don't think I would ever say that in a normal casted match.
Yeah, I mean, I think also one of the big things for Phantom Gaming is that whenever you're playing like this and you're seeing it, because the last map wasn't played like this on the defense. It was played very turtly and structured, which is fine, but it oftentimes led to the downfall. But now you have the same team playing in a totally different way, where instead of holding back and waiting for you to come to them, they're taking the fight to you, and that can be really 180 turn that a lot of teams don't expect, especially when you're seeing it for the first time. I think that I really want to see how they're going to do now that they're attacking bomb sites for the second.
X-Kairos on the door. Nyx is highly aggressive. The prone angle from Vinny, that is an off-meta play, but one that works wonders. It's a surprise that Vinny didn't see the player below through the gap at the bottom of the castle barricade. Freezing tried to come back up, perhaps to fill the void that Nyx had left. It's unsuccessful. Phantom Gaming have the shutdown, not a common angle from inside attic, but not one entirely unseen in the same saying. 2Relax, I think, either have a player at Shaiko or somebody inside E-Box itself. Sad Viper gunned down as we take a trip under the map. I can't quite say I've seen that one before. Either way, though, the kill is entirely in the favor of Phantom Gaming. It seems they've turned a new leaf, but as the Hibana and Maverick drop the hatch and turn the corner, a C4 goes overhead, entirely unsuccessful. Nips looking to get aggressive on the hunt forward, and though Giorno fouls up the first shot, he quickly responds and rectifies the gunfight. Huaz is the solo player, the single individual left against 5. There's simply no way that Phantom Gaming give up such a scenario. It would have to be the most biblical clutch I think UPL might have ever seen, and the opportunity to take out the Hibana missed. Could be a bit of a death knell, showing us that this round simply isn't going anywhere.
I really like this play from Phantom Gaming this round. Instead of being caught off guard and playing into what 2Relax wanted them to with the aggressiveness, they just waited for 2Relax to essentially kill themselves by being really overly aggressive. Like, by Nyx being where he was when that barricade was open, he gave Vinny the perfect opportunity to just wait. Vinny didn't peek him there. He just went prone, or he just sat by the open door and just waited for Nyx to expose himself, and then he took advantage of it. And that's what they did throughout the entire round. They just waited for the aggressiveness to pay off in their favor and not in 2Relax's, and they really, really punished them for it.
Moving forward now to dorms, a look to see if Phantom Gaming can complete a little flawless rotation of their own. Yes, there was a little bit of Lamicki on the tertiary objective. I think we'll glance over that. The second attack win under their belt is a impressively convincing result and is of an entirely different quantity, is of an entirely different universe than what we had for the first 2 rounds of this match. 2Relax, I think it started to get away from them a little bit, but that's only 2 rounds that we've seen, so we're going to use this third here in this little microcosm storyline to really tell us, is it, gone away for 2Relax? Is Phantom Gaming back in their own headspace and back in control of this match? Or is that just a little blip on the larger radar that is the 2Relax possible 2-0 storyline?
Yeah, I think it's just, I really want to see, if Phantom Gaming can keep this going. Can they keep up the counter-aggression that they've been showing us these past couple rounds? Or are they going to fall back into it? And is 2Relax going to be able to read into what happened last round and adjust their aggression to be more beneficial with the fact that Phantom Gaming knows how to counter it now? Because I don't want the aggression to go away, but I really feel like it would be beneficial for them to get back to a level where they could still be aggressive and peek the things that they need to without over peeking and throwing bodies away, because that was what really hurt them that last round.
2Relax have somewhat of a spread option defense. Triss sending a grenade up above. It had been, I believe, intended for a mute jammer. I'm not sure if it had gotten it. I would hope so. Maybe there was an adjusted placement. Vinny's drone is not jammed, and that should confirm it. In fact, there is no more mute utility close on this wall. He's got one left in pocket. I think he's worried about the possible for a grenade below. Actually, never mind. It was a call-in for freezing to get the Cade Claw. 2Relax, they did do this, didn't they, back on Clubhouse? They tried a little bit of mute tricking. The Cade was never involved because he was banned on the German map, but now it's a possibility here. You have to worry about the vertical below, but Buzz hasn't really opened it yet. And I think that's a major flaw in the way that this attack is being constructed.
Absolutely. Also, just the way that 2Relax has been using the kite has been really, really good. Is we actually see, I believe this was the same position that Nibs was in before, wasn't it? With the shotgun, except now instead of the M870, it's using the Mossberg, which, as we all know, if you believe in it, is the best gun in the game.
Well, Trist is a bit angered by the situation. They've wasted the burn utility, the ADS protecting that deployable shield. However, the defender freezing, who was behind it, moves away. Nibs is going to try to step forward. He's got that shotgun. He's got the first. Can't make it a second. In fact, actually, he did. That's a triple kill, but all of a sudden, Vinny has summoned up the energy as Giorno fights one through the vertical. Here's QAS, has eyes on the case, and this might be what turns the tide. Recovers his nitro. Has it as an option for the toss. Little to 2Relax, or Phantom Gaming, excuse me, no, but the entirety of the attackers are waiting in the site. Diffuser now recovered. Vinny has the option to get the plant down here, and, well, Phantom Gaming should confirm the fact that 2Relax are both below. A good team play move for Sad Viper to get QAS back up and into the fight. A C4 out, it detonates, but not on the right player. It's Giorno who dies for it, and Vinny gets the case down. They're thinking about a push-up from White, but 2Relax, what they really need to do is have Sad Viper come up from main. That's exactly what he's got eyes on. Develop multiple different angles as well at once. Vinny backing up into the corner. He can't get through the rotate. He doesn't have a lot of options here, but the time is going to stifle this one, and it could force 2Relax into making a mistake, but they won't do it! And they completed the retake, crushing Phantom Gaming. Sad Viper pulls it off with the shot against the player in dorms, and the revive onto his teammate, ultimately winning the round.
Beautiful, beautiful play from them. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit better use of the Nitro Cell to kill the planner, but that's all semantics now. They still won the round, and both teams are kind of doing the things that I wanted them to last round, where Phantom Gaming has been much better about playing into the aggression and making it do what they want. But then Two Relax has also been really good about making the aggression do what they want, depending on the player. So I think that round is going to be determined by which team really masters the aggression of the other team, how they're able to use that to mess with each other.
I think ideally this is how the series would have started. You would have gotten an incredibly competitive Two Relax who are dialed in team-wise, who are working together, who have good communications, who relay their intentions, most importantly, between teammates. But a Phantom Gaming who have a tendency to just, when they sense it's time, explode onto the objective and play as aggressively as you might want. Phantom, I think, could use a little bit more aggression still. I think it's leaving me maybe a little bit lacking in terms of some of what we saw. Kappa notably having a much quieter map than he did on the first. Perhaps that's due more so with the nature of the game, and I would say his role, but he was on Capital and I want to say Smoke or Mute for the entirety of the first map, and he was able to get kills nonetheless. It didn't matter what operator he was on or gun he had. He was able to step up when his team needed him. The Finka pick isn't going away from Trist. To be honest, I don't entirely agree with it at this point. If Phantom Gaming doubled down on the aggression, really continued to use it to their advantage, I think the Finka is a great pick and fits in well with the current meta. And here's Buzz. In Pillar, the defenders have given up this map control. This is a really weird mistake to have erupted and the wall sought through Pony. Here goes Phantom Gaming. They will explode right into the site, and it's under the noses of Two Relax, or so they thought. Kappa guns one down, spots the mirror. However, it's actually broken, and Vinny is down in the meanwhile. This round quickly going sour. However, a quick 3K out of the Phantom Gaming members will wrench it right back. Sad Viper has a red ping, knows the players at Bosco, but misses the shots against Buzz. There's so much time to work with here. It's gotta feel a bit awkward and strange. And the res from Buzz, they probably could have just used the Adrenal Surge. It won't even matter. As Phantom Gaming, they make an audible call to come in quick from the construction area, and it's an utter success.
Absolutely. And that was... I'm not quite sure what the thought process was behind that defense, because that's a very large hole to just have. Because they were just able to get 3 people into Pillar without any contention at all. Like, there was nothing really stopping them from getting there. And then once they got there, they had plenty of time to just set up the utility that they wanted and burn things and open walls. And then it didn't really seem like Two Relax knew how to deal with them once they were on that side of the map, because they really couldn't, because they were all just stuck on the same side.
Very push and pull narrative, it feels like, for this game so far. We've had rounds where Two Relax are just in control of every defensive facet. And Phantom Gaming have had their share as well. They've had their aggressive motif. But now the second half is upon us, and it's time to see what changes are here from Phantom Gaming. They were really a huge fan of the roam, and I think that's exactly what you want to have as the face of this Phantom Gaming defense. You want to be fighting to relax on every turn and not giving them an opportunity to get set up on you, because I feel like at the moment with the Two Relax that we have in front of us, they do best under the situation where they go uncontested into the map control and are allowed to develop some of those positions and get prepared for the execute onto the site. We saw, and I mentioned this a couple times now already, on the earlier map of Clubhouse, when Phantom Gaming were able to trip them up, whether by Two Relax's own fault, specifically referencing that TK that we had earlier in that game, or also when Phantom Gaming would get lucky and would score an opening pick, Two Relax kind of floundered from that point on, and that's exactly the energy you want to harness here in round 7, and furthermore for the entirety of the second half.
Absolutely. I really want to see how both sides are going to translate the relationship with aggressiveness from their other halves to their current halves. Will Two Relax continue the really, really aggressive and translating pace they try to maintain on defense, or will they fall back into a more kind of structured and slow play style? And will Phantom Gaming become more aggressive like Two Relax did, or are they going to, again, fall back into that more kind of structured, really kind of like safe play style? And that to me is going to be one of the main storylines of this attacking half, is just how do both teams deal with aggression, and how do they deal with the aggression from the other team?
Sort of an early posture from Phantom Gaming up in the T1 stairs. They were sort of searching for the opportunity. It was not given to them, and they didn't actively, try to search or pursue for it. The Jaeger is going to be really stuck in just a moment. Nyx comes through, but they don't drone security, and they give Vinny the opportunity to strike. Such a sorry moment, because it results in the nullification of that earlier opening, and Vinny steps up for a second one, proving to be a player off the leash. Freezing went down, but his nade got the kill against Trist, who I believe tried to get kill hungry up the stairs. And they have managed to silence the Phantom Gaming threat, but Buzz kind of wants to start to creep up from those stairs, maybe looking for a too relaxed attacker that is not prepared for a defender so far away from the objective in the man advantage.
If we can manage to make that flank work and really throw XGs off and now, that could have been really good if they weren't expecting it, but I would guess they probably are, as they probably have a drone on that, but who knows? We're getting to the point now where they're going to have to execute onto the site, and although they have the main advantage, it's not by much, and one of their players is basically a bullet from death, and another is just about a bullet from death. So how they're going to attack is going to be kind of up to gun skill and who can have the best positioning.
They're still sort of searching for the opportunity in which route will lead them to victory here in this round. It seems like they've settled on a back take instead of trying to move down the main stairs. I think that's the right call. It's easy for Laundry to become a choke point with such a, limited opening. But this one could be, under the very same circumstances. Buzz has got the C4, but there's the Goyo shut down. 1 versus 1. Both of the SAS operators. Giorno's looking for it, and QAS isn't looking at him. Phantom Gaming are able to outlast Vinny, coming in huge with his middle floor escapades, and 2 Relax failing to secure that will now give over the first round and the lead to Phantom Gaming.
Really, really good round from them. Although it came down to a 1v1, but just that round boiled down to just Vinny did a thing. Because he got that really, really nice flank off and killed, I want to say it was 2 or 3 people, which really didn't necessarily end the round right there, but he took away a lot of valuable utility and set whatever plans 2 Relax had back several steps, and they almost had to go back to the drawing board just to see if they could make something work out of the scraps of an attacking lineup they had left.
Oh, here we are on this site, the old dorms, and Phantom Gaming, I feel like it's a little bit more, I don't know if I would exactly say that. I feel like maybe the roam on this site is way different than what you get on the basement, because on the basement, right, it's very clear the progression back to the site. You start out on the staircases, either you're looking to take fights against the offense, or you're just shooting drones and falling back. Compared to this going up the stairs, it's easier to cut off those rotations. Main stairs oftentimes is an area entirely under the authority of the offense from about 45 seconds into every round. On white stairs as well, that's a little bit more open, but it really depends on what kind of an attack that you get. If you have, a big window or a white stairs push, that could be under lock and key. But if it's more, big tower and master bedroom, that could be an opening, perhaps, to come back from a roam. But Phantom Gaming, aside from having Buzz on the Mozzie, don't have much invested into the possibility of a roam, or at least perhaps that's what I thought, when in reality it's Buzz and Trist who are away from the site and are looking to get aggressive. In fact, Trist most aggressively of all, running out from small tower and having his rotation for a moment cut off from the shower's window.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best roams for this site are the roams that focus more on C4 plays. As I start talking, Nyx is taken down by Trist as he's kind of started to fall off a little bit in performance, dropping double digits last map and sort of falling off near the end. And on this map, he hasn't really shown up all that much, which is something that 2 Relax really needs for their attacking half, I feel. Is Kappa almost kills another person, and the attack isn't fallen apart yet, but it's started to have its troubles.
Kappa's just sort of cruising through the mid floor, entirely unfettered by the presence of 2 Relax, an attacker outside the main doorway. This is going to be a really unfortunate position to kind of step back in from. I think they have the right idea. You just want to resume with the fundamentals, right? Don't, psych yourself out. Don't let it be like that CCTV round on Clubhouse where they just stop doing things. You have to still think about the plan, the execute, the progress, the map control, all the factors, and the win conditions most especially. Phantom Gaming have a player below the attic hash, and this is where you're going to see the problems of being in the 4 versus 5. You have to take someone away to monitor meeting below. Freezing has a great little spot here. Kappa's foot through the drone hole. Nobody moves in time, or a grenade actually does roll through the drone hole. And that's the kill. Quite an important one in swinging the storyline here.
Absolutely. And just that was a beautiful bit of coordination from them, which did allow them to even up the man count a bit, as well as take an individual player. But as I say that, Vinny and Giorno tag on and take out 3 players. And Nibs is left in a 1 versus 4, which could end poorly for him, or it might not. We'll have to see as he desperately tries to take the gunfights with everyone from the side of Phantom Gaming. Well, he's surrounded on all sides, so he's going to have to take multiple gunfights at once, but he does get a pick onto Buzz, and he kills 2 more, but he doesn't get it, as Vinny has the flank, and he manages to cut him off from a clever angle and win the round for Phantom.
That very quickly became quite a shocking spot for 2 Relax. If they had clutched and won out that round, would have bettered any clutch, I think, than we had on the first map by far, just by sheer numbers in that one. And, it goes to prove that this game is incredibly close, and though Phantom Gaming are making really solid strides, and I think their roam has improved, and, you don't have as many sleeper players as you did in some of the bad rounds from Phantom on map number 1, there's still room left here in this series, and, this is Phantom Gaming's map pick, so you do have to give some credit to 2 Relax, who have an uphill battle, who have to prove themselves on the offense, which is, we all know, not easy for any team, most especially in an experience deficit against Phantom Gaming, who have been very hard to nail down in a way of sorts.
I absolutely agree, and I really like the way that Phantom is playing in kind of like a similar, like, aggressive fashion to 2 Relax, but it's much tighter, if that makes any sense. Like, they know what they want to do before they do it almost, and so it's just kind of going through the steps that they've already mapped out. And that kind of can make aggression really, really difficult to deal with. If you already know how you're going to get aggressive, you have time to formulate a plan. You have time to know what you're doing. And it looks like 2 Relax is kind of having trouble with that. Is now that Phantom Gaming is on the defense, they can plan that out much, much better.
Well, as far as changes from 2 Relax to try to confront the situation here, I feel like we haven't seen them really do anything in their lineup-wise. They have ran double hard breacher, and then, you could call Iana a soft destruct, but she's really more of an intel op that can soft destruct. But they have just continued to run this composition. Grenade, somehow, Buzz survives it. It was a red indicator. Very well timed from Freezing, but it doesn't get him. Luckily enough, QAS will, as they have got an impressive set of angles here. It's good to see this big window pressure area being developed. Freezing has one as well. This is looking like the best start that 2 Relax have experienced so far in the second half.
Absolutely. Just the cutoff there was absolutely beautiful, and just the fact, even though the grenade didn't kill Buzz, it put him in low enough HP that cutoff worked. And then I didn't see how Vinny died, but he's been a very influential player on these roams, and he's really been a thorn in the side of 2 Relax the entirety of their attacking half. So just having him off the board, even though he doesn't provide a whole lot of utility as the Jaeger, he's really, really, really good. It is something that's going to aid them in the rest of this attacking round. They're also benefited by the fact that this is an offsite. For most teams, this is the site that you go to and then lose and then reset the round rotation. And so if they can take this, that'll almost even out the round count, and they can really, really start to make this comeback on this map.
Yeah, it would be a interesting road, from then on, in how, 2 Relax are going to set up for Dorms. The basement site, I think, is fairly, it's not too complicated, but Dorms had a little bit more of a lack of setup, I think kind of would be the way that I would explain it. There is a player near Classroom. Kappa steps up. Thought he had the second there, but no, it's Nyx who turns on the LMG to gun him down. And 2 Relax. They started the round off well, and it looks like they're going to end it in just the same way. Trist is solo against 4. Nyx on low HP. Isolate that. He's worried about the hatch up above. Sledge inside security. Trist has the threat of the vertical as well. But it's Nyx, actually, from in the main lobby that will secure the round. All he needed to do was watch the rotate. He filled the roll, and he puts 2 Relax within 1 round of tying.
Beautiful, beautiful play from them. I think the big thing there is just they had like this almost like comeback like Phantom Gaming did on the second half of their attacking half, where they kind of realized how to use the aggression the way the other team was using, the way that they wanted to. And now they're using it to try and get Phantom Gaming into their hands. Like what happened with the pick on Buzz. They nade him and then force him to rotate. And then he's just killed by QS on the window because QS already has that cutoff and he knows what his role is. And just if they can continue doing that, that'll be really, really beneficial for them. They could potentially take the map in regulation even.
We'll have to let that sort of settle and boil for a little bit. Onto the basement. Here we go. 2 Relax. Let's talk about what they need to do attacking-wise and what push they should settle for. Last time, it was a very late take, kind of just into Pillar. They just sort of tried it. They encountered a lot of trouble, and it was noticeably slow. It was kind of... I almost certainly remember describing it as, you know, kind of the way that we had it in the first map, where 2 Relax had problems, they couldn't fix them in time, they had to eventually execute, right? You always have to do that in Siege, that's kind of the way that the game works. And when they reached the site, they were just terribly underprepared. And you can't fault them for losing that round, but ways that you start this off better is by maintaining a solid drone economy. That way you can search for the Phantom members, and you also want to use those drones not only for active roam clear, but also to maintain the areas of the map control that you fought for.
Exactly, and those drones are even more important because they have dedicated flank watch utility. All they have are their drones, so they're going to have to dedicate some amount of drones to the flanks. And so if they start to run out of drones, either you have to take drones away from the flank watch, or you have to take drones away from joining people in it. And they're both the bad option there. Even with Ayana, that's still really tricky, especially if she gets picked off early in the round.
2 Relax are using all of their intel quantities to try to get the most solid grasp of the map, but you have to... I feel like this is kind of slow. I'd like to see the introduction of more cutoff drones. It's, you know, a fairly simple concept. You set out the drone. Oh, look at the swing from the Aruni. Triss tests Freezing's reaction time, and they cut down half the heart-breaching potential as Buzz chimes in from the rear stage as well. 2 Relax again, suffering those early deaths that have plagued them so on this objective. And Nyx, as he moves up the white stairs, I think we're going to see a similar situation to the last time the site was played.
I agree, which makes sense given that this is this is very obviously the primary site from Phantom Gaming. This is the site they prefer. This is the one they want to go to. And so they're going to be very well practiced on it. And that's just what's coming through in these rounds. They know what they want to do and they know how they want to do it. And they just have to make sure that they don't get disrupted in that process. They just have to hold the key positions that they want and need to make their aggression work. And then another thing is they've been so good at falling back. Like, they've gotten 2 picks, both of which have really, really good utility, and then they've fallen off. Most, if not all of them, are on the site right now holding crosses with one another, and that's going to make it excruciatingly difficult for the attack to get in.
Excuse the man counter, it's 3 versus 4 as 2 Relax strike back for the first pick in the 5 that they need. Reinforcement goes up, but Nyx chimes in as well. And this round might not be entirely done yet. Nibs goes down, though. Trist, after an earlier start-off kill at the top of the main stairs, is still alive and thriving in the diffuser in a very awkward spot as well. That'll need to be recovered. C4 close to the rotate, detonates, and it's good on the money against Trist. there might still be a route back into this. Surya Gate is going to constrict them to the hallway, and it's a bloodbath between Buzz and Giorno. That round is not going in the column of 2 relax as the defenders close it out, but it does get certainly ugly at the end.
That was a beautiful, beautiful swing from those two. I initially thought the Goyo had killed both of them, but what actually happened was just by swinging that at the same time, you just, rule of thumb, you can't take 2 gunfights at once. No one can. Sometimes you do a bolo or a sheko, but most of the time you don't. And just by putting them in the situation where they have to hit the flick of their career in order to get out of that, they put them in a really, really bad spot for trying to make it out of that round alive. And there was a beautiful bit of teamwork from them. And even from the side of 2 relax, there was a lot of really good utility uses, like Viper's nade had the potential to win them the round had some of the kills gone the other way. It was a beautiful, beautiful nade. And even though they were in that huge deficit, they still managed to almost call that round back, and it was really, really, really close in the end.
And though the effort was certainly there from 2 relax, they gave it their all, they tried, and they almost made it happen. I think that shows a lot of progress, from Clubhouse, where if they set themselves up in a position, there was no turning back. But even aside from all of that, Phantom Gaming win the round, and it puts them on match. They have 2 opportunities to close it out in regulation, as we talked about earlier. But, 2 relax have played much better this game. And I think you take a look at this position, round number 10 or 11 on the previous map, the kills and the spread on 2 relax look totally different. On the Phantom Gaming side, Kappa, how does he go from 15 pickups on the first map to barely being alive and active, effective in some rounds? It's honestly a little baffling to me.
So sometimes players who are really good at some maps than others, which it doesn't make sense to a lot of people to be bad at Oregon, but just some people's, like, for example, for me, I don't know why, but just Villa doesn't make sense in my brain to a point where I can really frag out on that one, but you put me on Clubhouse and Oregon, and it's a completely different story, because I know those maps on a deeper level. And so it could just be that for him, maybe Villa's one of his off maps, maybe he doesn't know this one as well, but Clubhouse is one that he knows really well, and as I'm saying that, Buzz gets the leadoff pick onto Freezing, and opens up this round for Phantom Gaming.
Yeah, talk about knowing the map, that nice little corner there, hiding in, and 2 relax. You want to drone that, but it's not something that always happens. You don't always get the luxury of actually searching completely through that area. Phantom Gaming playing quite an atypical defense setup. I mean, mostly just from that armory side. Having the Surya Gate in effect as well there is a little bit more common. X-Kairos come to the wall. Trist has one. That tight angle. So easy to thread the needle, and 2 relaxed members, you just have to be worried about it. Already down by 2. You've lost Freezing and Nyx. Good sportsmanship from Nyx there, but the evident fact is Phantom Gaming are on match point and have 2 of the kills towards closing out this game. 2 relax. Do they have it left in the tank, though?
I mean, it's entirely possible that they do, but the biggest thing for me is that there's still utility up around the site and in the defenders' pockets to aid them in potentially winning this round, whereas Relax have almost exhausted a lot of the resources that they have, and it's really starting to show. Oh!
Wow. What a shot out of Giorno. Just absolutely whipping things into shape. Here's Sad Viper. That ARX doesn't have many bullets, but he makes do with it. Unfortunately, he went to go grief the downed player inside kids' dorms, and Cannabis had come around the corner in the meanwhile, and that should mean the game, but there's 22 seconds left for Nibs to prove himself. The Yaruni Gate reactivated has to be so frustrating for Nibs, and the other one, right on the trophy tour, will become available soon. Nibs is going to seize the moment. He runs right through the toxic canister, but Kappa will seal the game. We're going to a 3-mapper here in the UPL Fall Quarterfinals as Phantom Gaming surge back into Oregon and take it 7-4.
Really, really nice play from both sides. Even though they didn't pick it up in the end, there was still a lot that we saw out of To Relax that we didn't see on Clubhouse. And if they can just if they can keep up improving to Villa, they have the potential to take the series. But at the same time, Phantom Gaming has been really good at countering everything that's been thrown at them. Whenever there's an adaptation, it works for a few rounds and then immediately is thrown into Relax's face.
I think Villa is going to be the best possible map. Maybe Coastline would be a little better, but that's just the caster in me hoping for the aggressive map. But Villa has a real opportunity for aggressive roams, for late flanks, and that's been one of the biggest storylines that we've been pushing so far this game. We'll see if Phantom Gaming can complete the reverse sweep after losing out so closely on that earlier Clubhouse game. But we do have a short break that we'll be jumping to 5 minutes, and we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in.
Sagare gapagare gapada pagare ga
or the ocean.
Clubhouse came down to overtime, a win for 2 relaxed, but on Oregon, things were a little bit different. Phantom Gaming were able to close out a quite effective match from them, 7-4 in regulation, but now we're on to Villa, just the perfect scenery to conclude this one here in the UPL Fall Quarterfinals. My name is Stikula. I'm here with Aliosis as we dive into what is sure to be an action-packed deciding map.
Absolutely. Whoops. I really am looking forward to seeing this, as both these teams have improved over the course of the games. We've seen different players have pop-off games, and some players try to take backseats in other games. And so I really want to see how that comes together on this final map of this best of 3. Teams throw everything on the table to try to be the one that sends the other home and progress further into the tournament.
Well, as we come into the operator veto system, you have the usual Thatcher, and you also have the usual Jackal, but I do think it is worth diving a little bit deeper into the talk and the conversation surrounding the Spanish operator, who has quite a level of effect on a map like Villa, and removing him, I think, gives us the better game. I don't like watching Jackal because he feels like a cheat. He feels like you get Jackal and you kind of, get to click past the roam. Now that you don't have him, you have to do things the good old-fashioned way, the manual way, droning out, communicating with your team members, and getting those defenders out of any nook and cranny that they find themselves in. But one thing I'll say is, while the Jackal is out, the Lion is an operator I would love to see in. I feel like Lion adds a level of exacting to your attack that you really don't get on any other operator, and it can really help you to just confirm and lock down any defender, making sure that the 2 relax defense, which has been very mobile, is limited, is slow, is sluggish, and when they, try to rotate back, if you can get that EE1D call off, you can try to lock them in, and you can try to guarantee those picks to bolster your position here for PG.
I completely agree. And one of the beautiful things about Lion as well is if you can use him to prevent the defender. So what a lot of teams like to do is they'll have like a kind of like fall off defense, where it's like you sit here, shoot some drones, move to a further position, shoot some drones. But Lion makes that harder, because now when you're trying to rotate off, you can activate his scan, and then all of a sudden it's harder to move around because you're constantly being spotted, and it reveals your exact position for a few seconds, unless you're a vigil or standing on a mute jammer. So if they can take that line and really use that to keep the defenders from rotating around and keep them from getting into better positions, they could really mess with this defense.
We will have to wait a little while if that ever does come in this little matchup. It's Iana who fills the role of the intel operator here. Not a shocking one whatsoever. Iana, one of the best operators in the current patch, given, her utility completely. I mean, everything that you want, having the Gon 6 to bring your total explosives up to 3, having 2 very well-rounded weapons, which have not seen many recoil hits out of the recent wave of nerfs, despite the fact that you've lost the option, I believe, for the 2.0 times optic on the G36, and as well there on the ARX. Being able to still maintain a solid recoil pattern while having good damage, good DPS, and manageable, very important, manageable recoil. You don't have, the R4C flying up into the rooftop, or, the M762, which actually, in another conversation, has seen a couple of changes, but Phantom Gaming are quick into the map, and they've got their eyes on this Astro player.
And so this Astro player can often be difficult to dislodge if they know how to play it, because you can't just peek him because he has a shield. But there's often not a whole lot of vert play to speak of to get rid of him, just because of the positioning of that specific shield. And as I say that, Nibs gets a Nitro Cell onto Vinny, which is going to take out a lot of drone utility, as well as frag grenades, which are very valuable for this site, or just any site in general. And it's really going to put a thorn into the side of the attack here, and they're going to have to dedicate utility from something else to those frag spots.
UAS creeps through for 1. The K1A comes alive as Sad Viper has another nade to continue promulgating this 2 relaxed man advantage. Phantom Gaming haven't gotten anything done as it's left to Giorno.
So far, Phantom Gaming...
Go ahead.
So so far, Phantom Gaming's been left up to their, they've been left up to their name as they're all ghosts now, as they're dead, as they just keep getting picked off from nitro cells or gunfights or more nitro cells. Because Duralax really know how to manipulate the Vern on this map, and especially with the Pulse. They knew where Giorno was before he dropped down. They knew exactly what they were wanting to do. And even just that bait with that door from the Vigil is just perfect team play from Duralax and perfect utility usage on those nitros.
Duralax starting it off like they were on Oregon. Defensive success in the early game, but will that continue is a topic entirely of its own. That first half of Oregon was so promising for them. They were doing everything right. I feel like the first two, and even, a little bit in the third round as well, we were talking exclusively about Duralax and the successes that they had, the improvements to team play, and the overall failures of Phantom Gaming to get much done. It's entirely the same here, but we saw what happened. It was Phantom Gaming who won. They're on Oregon, and it was because Duralax were far ineffective on their assaults. But we have 5 more rounds of defense to talk about here, and Duralax are over to Aviator in games to see what they'll make happen on this site. They got the Oryx, a familiar face to some on Villa, maybe not to others, but do you have much personal experience with the Oryx?
One scrim where he ran around with the shotgun and bullied us, which was a great time, and I'd definitely do it again. Thing about Oryx, I actually really like this pick, is a lot of people kind of see it as a meme pick, but he roams in such a unique way that is very difficult to counter if you know what you're doing. Because he can bust through walls, he can jump up hatches, and he can just kind of hang on hatches for a few seconds as well. And just with those two things, you can really be in the attack space, but also pull back when you need to with those pieces of utility that he has. And if QS can roam effectively with this, he can really mess up the attackers, especially since he has the T5 with a 1.5 sight, which is a crazy combination.
Phantom Gaming have the entirety of the first floor in the south section on lock. They're still a little worried about, something coming through from the living room area. It's always good to just pay attention and to cover your angles. Phantom did not really get many opportunities to do this just in that previous round. They have a situation to deal with. Flores drone comes in and freezing, and Nyx! That could have been a monster kill in the feed to get those two. But they'll go back to the site wishing they had brought a Thunderbird in this composition. It doesn't matter that Freezing is on low HP as he guns Giorno right through the vertical.
Absolutely beautiful pick from Freezing there as he gets the Sledge, who has frag grenades, which are, again, just valuable utility, as well as Giorno's been a pretty solid player for Phantom Gaming, and off of the board is going to make it excruciatingly difficult for Phantom Gaming to get rid of some of the utility that they want to, especially since a lot of their other utility has been kind of just not thrown, but used up.
Well, Kappa has not gotten a huge opening for the rest of the team through this AV wall. Freezing still stepping up with Toxic Babes in hand, and Phantom Gaming, no response yet to that earlier SMG-11 kill. Triss sending in the Rotero. Searching for any utility to destroy with it. He won't score any, and it just sort of detonates. It's lonesome inside the hunting vault. Phantom Gaming have absolutely no mandate here, and they need to earn something as Triss so courageously walks through and might try to just check Uaz, sort of go for the ego challenge and see who comes out on top of it, but Nyx has a second. I think the player at Classical is exposed. Triss is gunned down. Finally, there's two quick ones from Vinny, making this look doable as he steps in as well, almost has Nibs, but misses the opportunity as the mute slips his grasp. 18 seconds to play for the carrier. Kappa, an option for the plant. Vinny's got the C4, even that's a grenade, and oh, Vinny comes out on top of it with a huge fight, but Nibs pulls forward shotgun or submachine gun to relax, have it either way, and they have two in a row.
I would just like to say for the record that both of the opening kills for True Relax were on the players that were almost killed by the Flores drone. So just despite being on seriously low HP, they both opening that True Relax turned into a round win. And so they're riding high right now. They're playing really, really well, and neither round has really been close, although the second was closer than the first, which isn't saying much since the first was a flawless round, but it's still something. They're going to go on to the tertiary site for True Relax, which for some teams is the secondary site or even the primary site, but it might be the one that True Relax isn't as experienced on or that they're not as well practiced on, and this is probably the best opportunity that Phantom Gaming has had to pick up around yet. We'll just have to see if they capitalize on it.
Yeah, as far as this objective, I think what matters most is Phantom Gaming and the way that they're playing right now. I mean, look at Vinny. He's the only one with any kills. Kappa, you know, I spent a lot of time talking about his play on the first map just because it was so impeccable. But another map, the second map, Oregon, he kind of slowed down, and the third one, he's nowhere to be seen at all. And that's true for 4 other members of Phantom. What has gone wrong, so wrong, in this game that they cannot begin to progress their attacks? That last round, okay, they got set up. It was better. It was much better than the first round, but it still left a lot of problems unidentified or unaddressed in its entirety.
And to kind of bounce off that a little bit as well, it's the same thing that happened on Oregon. There's a very pokey, proddy type defense that's going on here. This is very, very aggressive. And it doesn't seem like Phantom knows how to deal with it, but it's the same type of strategy that was used in the first 2 rounds on Oregon that they struggled to counter and then countered so effectively afterwards. And so the way that they're kind of struggling with this is very, very strange because it's almost like a TV show where they have to like struggle the same things over and over again because they're not always sure what to do. And it might be this again, or it might not be. We have this, but so far it's the same storyline playing out as played out on Oregon.
Grenade is over the top, and Nixie was caught on the run away. Phantom Gaming quickly come in with 2 kills. As that's Kappa and Buzz, both players entirely silent, and I just spent the last 40 seconds roasting them for the first 2 rounds. They come alive in a huge way as 2 Relax are crushed in any opposition, and this feels exactly like what we had on Oregon. It's almost like you hit the rewind button and 2 Relax are just shuddering in fear. Here comes Buzz. Sad Viper might try, but with 2 guns coming out on him. Nibs tries to step up in the pocket again for 2 with the shotgun and SMG, but that's simply not good enough. And Phantom Gaming traded out to put forward their first round.
This is almost like a Hollywood remake. Like, it's like I'm watching the same beats play out as happened before. But not with but it's not like Brendan Fraser is some dude in his 20s now. It's like Brendan Fraser is still Brendan Fraser. What's really strange to me is just it played out the same. Like they started off, Phantom Gaming starts on attack. They have trouble countering the aggression and the strategies for 2 rounds. Then in the 3rd round on the tertiary bomb site, they kind of remember how to play the game again. And then they start going for it, and they get the round, and then they went to, like, it's the same thing again. And I don't know if it's going to continue being the same thing. Maybe 2 Relax has kind of figured out how to counter this. But I don't want to see 2 Relax fall off in the same way that they did before, because that's really not going to be good for them in this series.
Back to where it got started here on Kitchen Dining. 2 Relax looking to put it in to move the pieces back to their favor a little bit further. Vigil coming out from Q as we spent so long on Club asking for Vigil, asking for Mozzie, looking for Realms, and Phantom Gaming tried it, but not to an incredible degree of success off of utility alone. I feel like there was maybe 1 round at all where the Vigil was brought and really used, and so we have an opportunity to see if maybe the ERC-7 is going to be more helpful. Phantom Gaming, I'm thinking about that last round from a drone point of view. I'm thinking, where does QAS fit in now that we're playing for dining and kitchen? Is he going to be upstairs somewhere, or is he going to be hiding on a corner in the more southerly area of the map?
So if I recall, they did bring QAz on the backcam. Alright, I'm blind. They did bring QAz on the vigil, but he's sitting more towards like the red stairs area, just kind of ratting around there, hoping to get some picks and just waste some time, as it looks like Nick's going to be playing that area this time, with QAz playing more inside of AV and Study to really try and counter this main stairs push and see if he can waste some time in drones. It looks like, as is typically the job of a vigil, as Nyx goes back to his shield and Astro to just try and hold that off and hold whatever push is going to come from there.
Trist has sort of just stepped inside of the mudroom, looking to cut off rotations, if any, at China. Too Relax playing their split defense. Look at Nyx. Nyx has just crept down Astro. If Phantom Gaming, specifically Trist, try anything at the Big Ben clock, they should face significant resistance. Freezing us the castle barricade as well, which could affect that engagement. You know, if the Flores is more focused on other areas, knowing that he doesn't have to watch China, there might not be as many openings for Nyx. Phantom, it's another slow round. 1:20, they do not have any vertical pressure or any vertical control. You know, they haven't cleared the vigil. They have not gotten rid of him, and I think this is the better way to use, you know, your roamers. Hold a specific area of the map, rather than be really ambiguous and use just red in last round, which doesn't really stop, you know, the offense from doing much. We'll have the situation continue to develop, but Phantom Gaming, I don't see anything notable from them to talk about in a positive note at the moment.
They're playing so slowly, and just giving Too Relax the time to set up and to really figure out where this push is coming from and get set up. And yeah, the execute's coming, but they don't have any time or really map control.
Well, we'll see what it happens. Do Phantom Gaming try to just bolster in? Yokai, not a Yokai, Rotero drum blows up, Freezing moves through it. Phantom Gaming have the first two. Freezing on the pre-fire combines with Sad Viper to quickly cut it back. All of a sudden, it's again Too Relax who face the disadvantage, with Phantom Gaming coming into the objective. Nyx is on the rotate back, but they have not yet begun the plant. Kappa has the idea in safe cover. Nyx cuts down Giorno. It's just up to Vinny, who's got a grenade trying to toss it over on the position. Steps out into the open. The detonation comes, but Nyx knows his options are very limited at the moment. Time against him. Can't find any angle. No quarter being given by Phantom Gaming, and the castle barricade in Memo is going to be their own utility tool to keep Nyx away, and he can't check the angle in time as Too Relax fortunately face the perils of their own defensive setup. Phantom Gaming take over.
That was really well played from Too Relax on keeping Phantom out of where they wanted them for a while, but then when it actually came to holding those positions that they had spent so long holding, they just kind of crumbled. And I got another round that looks exactly like Oregon before it. So if the story continues, we're gonna see Too Relax pick up this round and then lose the next one. Which, if we see two defensive halves play out the exact same way from Too Relax, that'd be really, really weird, and I don't think I've ever seen that before, actually, now that I think about it.
Well, Phantom Gaming, I don't know, it's so weird. So weird that you have games which open up so parallel. But on a more focused in perspective, Phantom have their two attacks, and they win those attacks in just such a weird way. Too Relax kind of giving up the advantage there and not being able to complete it. One of the most familiar storylines that we've been pushing so far in this series, and you would just hate for them to have won so closely on Clubhouse and put in an incredible effort. One of really no match. I can't remember for the life of me in the last 5 UPL postseasons that I've casted, where we've had a storyline such as this one. 2 Relax over the season were a team that I don't think many people predicted to secure the 2 seed position. I mean, for, you know, a roster that doesn't have many players of incredible note. But what we've seen today is that, no, all these players have futures in the game and have real potential and are trying to act that out in the server.
I think that one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and that's not obvious to some people, is that oftentimes players of note aren't necessarily the biggest ones, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you have players that linger on lower placing teams or on worse teams for a while, just trying to get that opportunity and just honing their skills. And then you get a group of them that come together and then they just burst onto the scene. And that appears to be what's happened with 2 Relax. Like, even with no one on who being particularly big or well known from what I can understand or from what I'm gathering, they're all playing well, actually. And even though there have been some flukes, they've all been playing really, really well overall. And self-flash from them, but just every player in this lobby has been really, really exceptional and really, really talented. And I genuinely do want to cast them all again because it's been a great time.
It ties in with another storyline of yesterday's quarterfinals where Gohan, coming in on Coastal Gaming, a roster in a similar position to 2 Relax, but even lower seeded. Gohan had a monster game, and he won a 1 versus 5 ace against Mystic, a roster that you would never expect to lose such a scenario. A lot of people are talking about Gohan in the lens of he will be on a big name team very soon and has a future in Rainbow Six. But coming down within 40 seconds, Phantom Gaming have to do something. It's similar to the last AVG round where they have suffered the casualty from the get-go. They've lost a player, and they haven't found their opening to you know, fight back into this. Trist rotating, I think, gunned down by QS. I'm not sure how that angle materialized. But Phantom now in an even worse position, and that'll be amplified by the failure of Buzz to secure a kill as he steps inwards. Kappa trying to find his pocket. It doesn't work for him. Freezing has 3 with the shotgun before he's taken out, and Nibs, another one, adds to the M590's total in this AVG round as defense are able to materialize a closeout in a fairly expected pattern.
This is, it's like, you know that meme that's like, hey, can I borrow your homework? Sure, just change it to it so they don't know. It kind of feels like I'm watching that. Like, same story, different map, almost. And I think I can kind of see why, because they're coming out of the... 2 Relax is coming out of the gate with these really, really interesting ways of roaming and playing, and then it's not working the second time. And then they're kind of getting thrown off. Although they're actually gonna switch around from the previous storyline and go kitchen dining instead, and they're bringing the Capcan, which I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. You know, I'm not sure about you, Stick, but I'm really looking forward to this.
So, 2 Relax, an opportunity for them to advantage the half. I don't think we've seen them do it. I'm thinking it was not the case on Oregon. I know for certain that was an even 3-3. But on Clubhouse...
I know they won more rounds on Clubhouse.
I don't think they were in an advantage. It might have been tied as well.
Because on Clubhouse, if I recall, both teams went too far in their attacking halves. So
I think you're right on that.
Because I think if I recall, the only team that's like had an advantage at the end of their defense half has been Venom.
Well, that gives you a pretty clear window right into the storyline between these two. 2 Relax, it kind of takes them a little bit to get going, right? On Oregon, they couldn't get it going in the second half, and that was the reason why this is a 3-map series and not a 2-0 for their favor. And we're going to have to see, I think, a big effort in the transition between the first half and the second. But what's more important is closing out the round at hand, where 2 Relax again have this roam idea that they're pursuing, and Phantom are so slow at clearing out the top floor. I really want them to just speed it up. Go quicker or ignore it entirely. I think it's going to be the latter.
Yeah, I agree. And I think honestly that's why they're pursuing the Vigil so heavily, and Vinny falls into a Capcan track, which means technically it's worked so far. But I think that's why they're going for the Capcan and the Vigil combo. Because Vigil can run around, not like a monkey, that's the wrong way to put it, but really aggressively, and he can throw things in, he can throw wrenches in constantly, and you combine that with the Capcan, and they have to check every doorway now. And when it gets to the point where there's 30 or 40 seconds left, you might not have time to check those doorways, as you're just trying to get into the site, and that'll really be dangerous for Phantom Gaming.
Look at how close Freezing is. Just on the opposite side of the pillar from his opponent. Nick's trying to pursue things. Freezing finds no success, but he's quickly traded out. He tried to go too quick through the doorway into the stairwell. To relax, still have roamers left unchecked. That's Nick's up above, continuing to pound it out through the wall at split. And somebody waiting on the hatch as well for To Relax. They have a lot of things monitored here, but Buzz finally will clamp down on that pressure above. And Phantom Gaming with 50 seconds to go. I don't think this is a terrible looking round. But QAz is going to make it look a little bit worse as he's still in Master. Will try to fight it against Buzz, but that's a fight you're not winning. And now the Zofia has her options, but you really need to link up with the Iana here. That's the best thing to do. As Nibs is going to be so elusive inside the site. That's an angle! If I've ever seen one out of Vinny, and might just make this one doable. Sad Viper has not been talked about much through this game. So far through the rotate, this is a good play. This is smart stuff. Knowing that Phantom Gaming will have to make a plant. You want to isolate the gunfight. Sad Viper, as he creeps through, knows the Eon is there. Should hear the plant. Should hear it. Goes forward, gets the first, but Buzz comes off, and he saves it for Phantom Gaming. To Relax again. Cannot take advantage after the half, as they are tied once again.
Oh, there you go. Really, really good attempt from Sad Viper. He came so close to getting that, which it is a very commendable effort, especially because he did that in a very intelligent way, coming from the exact opposite direction that the attack had anticipated him coming from, and then just pushing into the back. And it almost worked. If Buzz had tried to stick that plant, or if he hadn't realized what was going on in time, it was entirely possible that Viper takes that round.
Well, just a shame to watch such an opportunity slink away. And now Phantom are on the defense. Look, they have done, I don't want to call it the bare minimum, because that's not what it is. Phantom Gaming have exceeded the expectations for them to perform. They had to start off on attack, which is difficult to do on Villa. But To Relax, I don't think gave them a capable enough opponent. They didn't roam good enough. They didn't stay alive, and their anchors most egregiously, I think is why they are tied at this half instead of maybe 5-1. There's a real possibility, and I'm not joking. And now you have to go up on the attack, and honestly, if To Relax don't start here and now and don't clearly show us that they have a committed effort and that their heads are in the right mind space, this is going to be a quick wrap-up, and it's going to be a 2-1 for Phantom.
Very, very true. And one thing that I actually think is interesting, if you look at the score, we've kind of talked about it a couple times now, but the kill distribution is actually better for the most part for To Relax than it is for Phantom. That is not what you want to happen, first of all. Kappa gets Freezing, which, even though the torch itself isn't going to be as good on Villa because of all the vert play, there's still the fact that he has frag grenades, which are super important for just attacking any site. And now they're gonna have to take some utility from somewhere else. However, the refrag does come out from Cap or QAz, which is going to open it around that a little bit more for them, but it's still not great, as you still lost a solid player who's been known to be able to pull out some kills when he needs to, as well as very valuable utility in those frags.
I mean, speak about taking utility. You take the C4 away from the mute. I think that's an important quantity to keep a track of. Trist still has his, and he's roaming. He wants to put it up on the ceiling below and try to call it in to make this 4 versus 3. Duaz on the hunt, I believe, outside the bathroom window. Just popped it open, just establishing that pressure. And you can see a mutual understanding between Sledge and Mozzie, both aware of their positions. But I think this is a win for the offense, knowing that you do not have that C4 below, because Nibs is in an incredibly vulnerable position, and a C4 could easily blow up sky high there.
Very, very true. And just, if they can try and waste that C4 as well, that'll be huge for them. And actually, QS gets a frag grenade onto Trist, which takes out that other C4, but in a beautiful shot from Jarno onto QS, trying to do the reverse vert. And now we're in an even man count with less than 50 seconds left. This could potentially go either way, but it's really, really looking good for the defense right now.
It's all about the capability to close it out. Vinny's got good shots on target against Nix. Nibs, toxic canister. Oh, but Sad Viper on the long angle. 2 versus 2 in round number 7. The shotgun, the Reaper, Giorno puts down the Viper. And Nibs has no intel, tries to go for the dry peek. He wins it against Buzz. He backs off, and he makes it a second. Nibs, another clutch. How many times will he do it this series?
That was... His man has been left in several clutch situations, some of which is almost won, but that clutch gives them the lead on their attacking half for the first time, I think, in this series, which could give them that little bit of boost that they need to close this out, or potentially to overtime and close it out there. Beautiful play from Nibs. Excellently done.
That's exactly what you needed. That is a to relax, hell yeah moment. You need that to start this half. And if you just ride that wave, Phantom Gaming are gonna feel devastated. Maybe not for Giorno, because he got his highlight little clip there through the vertical. But, you know, they're gonna have to repeat the site now, which has not been, I mean, not a talking point. We've had about to relax. How do they perform on the immediate repetition of this objective? They're gonna bring the Gridlock, which is interesting on the facet that we haven't had her yet, but also in it's called now. Phantom Gaming, I feel like, have not had, you think about that last round, many times where they roam and they come up behind you, but I feel like the Gridlock's Track Stingers could help to enforce the map control that 2 Relax have been struggling with in some aspects.
I totally agree, and even if they aren't going to use it for flank watch, when you get the diffuser down, just throwing some Gridlocks in the room can make it really genuinely difficult for the defense to get on the diffuser and get that diffused, just because, like, you can't step on them because they hurt you, but then if you take the time to shoot them, the attackers will just shoot you. And it creates a really awkward situation that they have to deal with. And then if you have the Gridlock watch cams near where her track stingers are, she could take advantage of defenders trying to get through them and potentially get a kill or two.
Well, that Viper from outside on the window. Phantom Gaming, somewhat of a far side press, but Trist immediately falls off. However, look at QAS. He pierces the window against Buzz, but Trist has the right number in the phone book. C4 up against Nyx. And that's why you have got to lock down that control, because you never know when a C4 might come up above. Giorno on a slim angle. Take a look at this one. Make sure you get your screenshot as he watches down towards the mudroom.
Those are the kinds of angles I like, just because they're very difficult to deal with, especially if you don't know to look for it. And even if you do know to look for it, that's a very, very slim thing that you have to keep. It's not always going to work. But switching focus a little bit to the flank watch, he's using it exactly how I thought he would. The track stingers down on the staircase that they're mainly worried about, and then they could stick a cam near that as well, and just have someone who's dead watch it, and just listen for the sounds. And then they just have to hold an angle on the top of the staircase, so whenever whoever's trying to flank gets to the top, there's already someone waiting for them with their gun barrel pointed at those stairs. And if you do that effectively, that's genuinely difficult to deal with.
Kappa is lucky to be alive. Freezing comes away. Kill against the Jaeger. Big step forward. That's the right foot set ahead from 2 relax. You're gonna have to use the X-Kairos to hard breach open the wall, but I don't think Nibs has shot it quite high enough to elude the mute jammer. You can hear an X-Kairos detonate now. I think that means that the wall has been opened successfully. Trist is searching through the floor, and a C4 over the top. Oh no! It's unsuccessful on either of them. Somehow, I don't know, it must just be a luck factor with the concrete walls being in the way. QAS is on very little HP, and this is the moment for somebody like Kappa to try to stand up and split the difference as Trist has one out of the commando. Kappa is still alive and kicking, and 2 relax are facing some real peril. Nibs is gonna self-flash, and that'll be the round for certain. You hate to be the way that one ends it, as we're tied yet again.
I like how we were kind of like, not roasting Kappa, but kind of commenting on how he fell off on Oregon and hadn't really come back. And now he's killing everyone. Which is kind of like, he's one of the players that did that really well. He was a very good space maker for Phantom Gaming on the first map. And if they can kind of get that back, especially now that they're on the advantageous half, that could be the thing that helps them close this game out, or even just delay time while they're trying to close it out.
Twitch pick from Freezing is an adaptation that I personally really enjoy. Like, that is a good one. We saw the mute jammer was causing some problems. Maybe they thought that was why that attack didn't take off quite in the right direction, because they couldn't clear the mute jammer from hunting ball. Well, do you have any comments on, you know, the Twitch and her position in the meta as far as gadget, really?
So I think that it depends on how you want to use her. So typically we see her like used in relation to like Mira, but in this case it's going to be more probably for the Kaid Claws or the ADSs, or potentially shooting off her pre-placed Nitro Cell, or deactivating a Melissa gadget for a push. Just if it can get around the mute jammers, which are actually none of right now, they could really, really mess up the utility that the defense has, because you could be playing a shield thinking you have an ADS, only to find that there isn't an ADS, and the grenade just sails on towards you. And if they can get that kind of utility off the board without Phantom Gaming, or without Phantom Gaming knowing about it, that could really, really mess up this half.
Both Nibs and Sad Viper searching for the angle, just looking over towards Pantry, as Nibs will bust out the X-Kairos launcher as well. It's going to be a below take. 2 relax are looking for control of Kitchen. They do have a couple members around the area, but I wouldn't say actively stopping them from getting that control. Couple reinforcements, couple barricades in the path. Sad Viper. That is an angle and a half from Kappa to win that fight with the UMP. That's definitely a surprising fight to go the way of such a slow-firing weapon.
Very, very true. And he's actually using the scanner in a way. A lot of teams will just kind of stick a pulse in like the Tetris or Memorial area and have them play their for C4, but instead, Kappa is running around the map and really trying to use that guy to make them comfortable. And a beautiful shot from Nyx, flicks onto the wall bang onto Vinny, and gets the man advantage for 2 relax once again.
There's Trist looking down from up on high. Good positioning from the Zofia especially, but Kappa is really trying his best to stop that, as he's got the cardiac sensor constantly looking through the wall. QAS with a great nade up above, and it would have been great if Phantom Gaming had a member in that position. They were slightly away, but QAS is much luckier on the second try, as Trist is not so happy about the results of that piece of killing. Giorno trying to creep forward. This could be good, but as Kappa sends the C4 on over, that should relay the fact that there is no defenders on side. And Freezing, sure, He steps in, he goes for the plant. Kappa has to rotate back. I don't really know if this is the right time for the cardiac sensor, and it sure isn't, as QAS, despite having his position transposed by the FBI operator utility, that just doesn't make any difference.
Okay, it's just enough with the godly knife too. I also just think that like all of like the all chat from like the side of like Too Relax has been like, hey, nice shot, or like, hey, we're having some technical difficulties, can we get a pause? And then Venom is like, okay. And it could honestly be a sign of the mental from some players, as it best of threes are hard. Playing for that long can be genuinely difficult. And for a lot of people, your mental can kind of slide off near the end where you're tired, you just want to get off, you want to go to bed, or you want to go eat. And you're kind of trying to like play while also keeping your mental in check, and that can be difficult at this point in time, especially if he's in a different time zone and it's later.
5-4 to 2 Relax. An opportunity to move up on match point. Something they have not done in regulation. They didn't do it on Clubhouse. It took them until overtime to reach that point, and it was also, it never came because 2 Relax could not amass 6 rounds on Oregon. But I think we have maybe a pause coming forward in this game.
So
Seems, I think the game is just sort of sitting here and spinning its tires, so we did have some issues with that earlier. For 2 Relax going into a trophy attack, I feel like it's hard for them to really complicate this one, right? Like, there is not a lot that can go wrong.
I think it depends on how you take it. The standard take is over from side to side, but sometimes you'll have teams that'll go from below and then try to use something like a buck or maybe even frag grenades to just dislodge utility that more complicated and sometimes inconsistent. But I think it just depends entirely on the take that they go for. If they go for the standard off study side and you get control up to 4 couches, then you rotate onto the master balcony and have your hard breach go there as the utility's taken off the wall. It's standard. Every team knows it. Every team's played it. You're probably not going to mess that one up as much because it's more likely going to be more well practiced. But if they try to complicate things further, that's when inconsistencies and small mistakes are going to start to creep their way into the attack.
Phantom Gaming looking to set up below, it seems like, and that's what we had last round, so why would it really change? I feel like this is a point where the repeat of the objective for Phantom is about changing the way that it was executed in the last round. Maybe you should be more aggro inside of kind of the kitchen and dining area. Try to really, get in the faces of 2 Relax. Don't give them any map control. Sad Viper has a little spot on the drone, but he's not really, hanging around the area for too long. There's the Twitch. Wanting to make sure if the K does step over the line, there will be a few bullets to answer that vertical game being played.
Very, very true. And I think that, for me, I actually think it's less aggression that's needed from Phantom, because the Pulse he got good picks, and he made the attack uncomfortable, but he didn't play the position that he necessarily needed to, and he was never really in an advantageous spot to make the attack uncomfortable. And so I feel like it says a lot, actually, that the Pulse was the last one left when he's such a pivotal part of that defense. He's normally one of the first people to die because Tetris is pushed so hard when there's a Pulse there, but he wasn't in trench. He was by the bicycle wall, or he was in artwork at the door, or he was at the bottom of red stairs. Like, he was never in the spot he was necessarily supposed to be in to just deny the attack.
Christ has the opener as he's certainly giving 2 Relax a hard time. It's a big pickup. Nibs always a clutch player. The grenade looking for its target, but away from it. Christ is lucky to still be alive, but he'll take those wins if he can get them. Here goes the Electro Claw, gonna try to keep off any of that hard breaching utility. Maybe what he doesn't know is there are no remaining hard breach capable operators. As Buzz is in from Pantry and a quick shot out of the K1A to put down the sledge. There's Nyx to respond in kind as he's got Kappa. But Giorno, again, from this trophy position, continues to pester the two relaxed members as it doesn't seem like match point will be coming just quite yet. Freezing is searching for the kill against the Vigil. Rounds the corner and hits the pre-fire. To relax. 2 versus 3, 30 seconds. They have to hustle here, Haliosis.
That they do, and they're kind of at a point where, with the man disadvantage, plus the fact that they have only around 20 seconds left and they're not together, they're going to have to take one-on-one encounters. But a beautiful one-tap from Viper onto Giorno is really going to make that much more doable, especially since they're both around the master area now. However, both defenders are going to know where they are, and they're going to be able to keep their sights trained on that area. But a flank from Trist is going to shut down Viper, and leaving it in a 1v2, which Freezing does not win, sending us to 5v5 on the third map of this amazing series.
Well, there you have it. We'll go again. We'll go to round number 11, and one team walking forward in this round to match point. The other will have to be in that dreaded 5-6 position. And what better to play it out on than Aviator and Games, as that's where we'll be heading in the site rotation. It was trophy back-to-back the first time. It didn't go too hot for Phantom. They kind of got clobbered, but they go to it again, and they win on the reattempt. And thus, as it is, the execution, I think, in that site was, improved, but Aviator will be a different quantity. We have seen plenty of film, though, on Too Relaxed in their attack on Aviator. Last time they played this site, they had some trouble getting that hunting vault wall open.
And one other thing I'd like to kind of mention is just, I feel like a lot of Too Relaxed's attacks have come from individual plays. Like, not all of them, obviously, but sometimes just the thing that will open up the round after a prior pick or prior wasted utility is just Nyx or someone else just saying, screw it, the round is mine now, I have a gun, and taking things into their own hands, whether it be the 2K that Nyx got on the first trophy attack, or the 1v2 clutch that I believe was a 3 or 4K from Nibs the first time they attacked AV. A lot of this from kind of both teams has come down to individual plays.
And speaking on the topic of some individuals that I would like to see a little bit more, Freezing and QAS, well, maybe more so just on Freezing's part. QAS is at least going positive, but Viper is, not going positive. I would like to see Too Relaxed return to that, structured play style where each player is filling their role, doing their part. You can't say, to the discredit of Too Relaxed, if their drone economy has been bad or just their droning period. They have intel almost always, it feels like. Probably one of the biggest plaudits that you could give them is the fact that they have such a common source of information. 2 drones drop down. Phantom Gaming look like they're going to give it up. This seems like a little bit more kind of a holdout defense than we had in the past, and Nyx is not entirely prepared for Vinny, but the Jaeger drops down. He is not going to try to contest this completely.
Yeah, so dropping off there is... I feel like you could make an argument for him staying there and for him dropping off, but the fact that he drops off ensures the fact that he's not going to die there. It ensures the fact that he can rotate back to site with Buzz on the Vigil, and they can either hold below the site when QAS goes for nades, or they can just get onto the site and try to hold off from there, as it looks like they're going to go for the first option.
There's Kappa already starting to chime in and begin the march forward for Phantom. Too Relaxed are going to have to do without their Zofia, and that's just the way things will be. Have your Heart Breacher still alive from Nibs? You're going to want him to get open this hunting vault wall sooner rather than later. Don't hold on to it forever, because Trist is below, and look at his utility. Still has a C4. Giorno will further the Phantom Gaming man advantage, as Freezing, having a bit of a troubling battle, eventually concludes to the favor of Trist. But he's taken out in his own right, but Buzz, just hyper-aggressive. Walks down the stairs. Nibs is into the site. 1 versus 3. The Jaeger is away from the target, and there's another player top main. Unfortunately, Nibs is caught between Iraq and 2 defenders shooting him.
Yeah, he was kind of caught between like Iraq and then another hard place, and then a third hard place somehow.
Yeah.
But still, solid attempt from him. They didn't know where he was until he killed the Jaeger, and had he been able to kill the Jaeger and whoever was on top of main stairs, I don't recall, he could have potentially won that, as it would have just been the smoke. But smoke, as we all know, is a very clutch operator and has very good utility to deal with that. Is we're gonna head into the last round of regulation, and either the round where Phantom Gaming closes this out and wins this series and progresses, or the round where 2 Relax takes it to overtime and potentially, takes the map and progress further into the tournament. What happens has yet to be seen, but I know I am really looking forward to this, and I'm sure Stick is too.
Well, yeah, on that topic, if you had to call it right now, is it overtime or is it Phantom?
That's I legitimately don't know. My gut says 2 Relax take it to overtime, but at the same time I don't know. For me, it's just gonna kind of be a matter of if they can read into what's going on and if they can keep their bodies alive, and potentially even can someone just pull the play out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm in a very similar boat. I think one part of me wants to root for the 2 Relax storyline, but the other part has, Buzz and Giorno in my DMs talking before the game, and I've just known them for so long, so get your biased casters in Twitch chat. But I honestly, if I have to pick between them, I think Phantom Gaming, based on experience, will close this out. And oh, that is an ugly one for Trist, is that will be headed into the blooper reel for Trist's comp escapades.
Certainly will, and we all have those blooper reel plays sometimes. It just kind of happen, and that's one of them. It just happened to be live on broadcast, but it just happens sometimes. But he's alive. And he actually won the damage engagement. He's put Nyx to the point where he's not going to be able to survive a gunfight if they hit his ball, which is going to make it really difficult for him to play the entry role and just take the space that's necessary. That combined with the fact that because Mozzie's on the board and with where his pests are, droning can be iffy sometimes just because you're not able to fully drone rooms because there might be pests on it. And he hits a beautiful shot on the Trist, getting revenge for the damage earlier and giving the early man advantage to 2 Relax.
Good way for them to begin this round. Putting the pressure on here against the PG defense in the hold up above. Kappa. The 1.5x on this 9x9 VSN is just such a weapon.
Hey.
Kappa has acted in an impressive way so far this game, but a moment of less than impressive ability as he's eviscerated by Nyx. Vinny comes in quick against freezing, but Nibs again picking up the impact kills. 4 versus 2. It seems like perhaps my prediction was wrong, and 2 Relax are in fact headed for overtime. Giorno does not know about the play over by Aviator, and in fact that'll be his undoing. Sad Viper cuts him down. Buzz is in the 1v4 in a very unwinnable position. The only way he gets back in is if 2 Relax mess up bigly.
Which is entirely possible that they might, but I would anticipate them not, as they've been solid about not doing dumb things. However, it's entirely possible that changes as he gets the first pick onto Nibs. However, Sad Viper is going to take him out immediately afterwards and secure overtime for both teams. And these final 3 rounds that we're going into now are going to decide who goes home and who progresses further, as we have 2 Relax staying on attack and Phantom Gaming staying on defense.
Well, a shot to continue and face Surf Esports in the semi-final or elimination outright from the fall season. 2 Relax versus Phantom, with the 2R side having the initial attack. Where do you place the fact that they have only a single defense round here in OT in their chances to come back in this game?
I think it could be a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, Villa's a very defender-sided map, so that's the side you want, but at the same time, they've been playing attack for the past 6 rounds. They might have their attack more figured out than they did before, and they might be more comfortable on it. Whereas if they have to switch, then you have to play defense again, and you kind of lose some of that. But by the same token, Random Gaming has also been playing defense for the past 6 rounds, and they're probably gonna have it figured out, as well as a lot of, like, especially that round is another great example. There's been a lot of individual play that's opened up or saved rounds or to relax, and that's very inconsistent. That's a very inconsistent way to do things. And if Phantom Game got that down on the advantageous side that they've been playing on for so long now, they have a really good chance of winning this.
Well, with that being said, into the first round of overtime to relax. What will they materialize with? The 0 pick is honestly really good to see. I wish we had it sprinkled in a little bit earlier on Oregon when we had really no flank watch operators playing at all. It's hard to argue for the 0, being that you give up somebody else, whether you're bringing less soft destruction or you're bringing less hard breachers, but, you know, the 0 does kind of act as a hard breacher of his own, with hatches being so important on Oregon. It's always good to be able to take out 2 of them if you can, but then, you know, obviously if you go to the dorm site, you're kind of not in the best position there. Phantom with their Vigil Mozzie defense, which has honestly been their best characteristic so far, and I feel like is just the way that you want to play this. But in overtime, you know, how conservative are they going to play? Because you realize you lose this round, it's your opponent who steps up to match point. Phantom Gaming already lost their opportunity to close this out when they were on match point just earlier there in regulation. But to relax, well, I don't think they're going to lose their opportunity a second time in this OT.
The thing about 2 relax is that, like, they've lost a lot of crucial rounds, but when it comes down to it, when it gets to the point where they're like, hey, it's do or die, it's now or nothing, they've actually been solid at keeping their heads on their shoulders and still playing smart. They still play with a tactical sense that isn't always seen. And on the flank watch, Freezing's actually going to kill Buzz, and then QS is going to get Vinny before being immediately dragged by Kappa, which still, even though it's an immediate refrag, still favorable for Phantom Gaming, especially considering the fact that Vinny has been a fairly influential player, and Monsis also had his moments where he's picked up really impactful kills.
Yeah, Buzz is a huge player. I've had a lot of cast very fond memories of seeing him go for some surprising moves, but to relax, just continue to stack bodies. 30 seconds to go here. Triss knows he needs to make a play, but it's unsuccessful. No! 4 versus 1. Giorno has the SMG. He's got so many attackers bearing down on him. It's freezing to drive the first nail into the coffin, and the second could be just ahead in round 14.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think one of the things that people don't talk about as much with clutches like that is, like, yes, he gets the kill. He gets the first kill in the 4 he needs, but they know where he is now. And he's trapped in a vault with really no way out that they can't watch.
It's literally
So
a vault.
Exactly. Like, he's forced to just swing them when they're all looking at him and they all have their guns trained on him, and he doesn't have enough M with the SMG-11 to take the fight. So he has to take something that's out of the effective range with the shotgun, and it really, it doesn't work. It shows. I mean, it showed just then. He tried to take the gunfight, didn't even anyone before he was killed.
Yeah. I mean, there's just only so much that you can do there. Being in the vault, having your rotations monitored. Phantom lost that round when they just continued to fail. And I don't think their team play on defense is really where it needs to be. I think that's probably what lets them down there. Have we had many discussions about a Phantom Gaming trade game? Because I feel like it really hasn't been there. Maybe for the entirety of this series, on their defenses most specifically.
I don't think it really has either, actually, now that I think about it. And because there'll be so many rounds where they'll get the opening pick, and then at that point you can just play trades. Because if you have the 5v4, if you just play trades, you'll end up with one person left. But they haven't been able to do that. They'll get the 5v4, which then turns into a 3v4 almost immediately afterwards, it feels like. And then from that point, it's like, yeah, you got the opening pick, but ultimately it was probably impactless because your opponents have exactly what they want out of you.
Setting up here, Phantom Gaming should be feeling a bit under the pump. Not a outstanding game from Trist. Vinny is gone in the opening moments, which I imagine will proceed. A call for a rehost. The call not come out. Phantom Gaming are going to play on. It's a valiant notion, but not sure if it would be either way. I'm not an admin. I don't know. I don't know the rules. Vinny is back. He'll be on cam duty. And that's, you know, that's not terrible. I think Phantom Gaming could use a dedicated cams player to be monitoring the flank. That's being if Phantom Gaming have drones set up on the flank. 7 drones down in the field at the moment. I would hope that means everything is being watched and all the angles have been covered.
So we see Triss get the opening pick on the QS, but something I want to talk about is, Viper gets pick on the Buzz, which is an immediate refrag. But something I want to talk about is the mental and emotional impact of Vinny getting disconnected like that. I think is going to weigh the gameplay aspects, because yes, you're down a very, very good player who's one of your top frags, but it's like, it's this feeling of like, we're on match point, we're at the do or die, and you get disconnected now in the worst possible moment. And that's, because if they lose this, there's no other chance. 2 Relax proceeds, and Phantom Gaming gets sent home. Like, that's the most tilting time, I'd argue, for someone to get disconnected, and I think we're gonna see that play out as this round progresses.
You know, Nibs tries for the peak. There's Sad Viper. 2 Relax are really being testy about the way that they're playing this. You'll remember very clearly Nibs had some rounds that he bailed out by playing aggressive on Clubhouse, but it's not so in this one. Triss coming up from main stairs. This is an incredibly intelligent play by the Finka. You want to apply the pressure on multiple different areas. The defense might not be prepared for the sudden appearance of this Russian operator. The smoke, I think, is possibly aware. It's hard to tell from his position. The utility removed. Trist can't really do anything. You've got a player behind the cover, but Kappa, he steps in. Oh no, they were distracted, and now this could be really ugly. 1 versus 2, but Nyx will lock it in. 2 Relax are headed to the semifinals to face Surf Esports in the Unified Premier League Fall Season Playoff. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to Phantom Gaming, but they played a hell of a matchup tonight.
Very, very, very true. And even though they got sent home, they still gave 2 Relax a hell of a run for their money. That wasn't a free victory. They had to fight for that at every turn. Both maps that 2 Relax won came to overtime, and one even ended 8-7, which is all 15 rounds that you have in a format like this. Like, that's really legitimately impressive from both teams, and I hate to see either one go, really.
Yeah, that is the nature of single elimination. However, there's only so much time to play R6, and there's only so many teams that get to carry on. And that'll be Surf Esports versus Team 2 Relax, who will play in our Monday semifinal game. The other matches to play out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, respectively, for the other semifinal, the 3rd place game, and our grand final. So make sure you're here all along the week. And we'd love it if you go ahead onto the Twitch, but also the Twitter at Unified Premier. Drop us a follow. That way you know when it's time to tune in next time. But thank you, Aliosis. It's been great to have you join me today. And, well, commiserations to poor Tristan, poor Corbeck. I hope he gets well soon and overcomes his sickness. But that's all from us here at Unified tonight. Big thanks to our producer, Tango Mango Down, and our observer, Kaz Rep. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you, most importantly, on Monday.